Hello, Internet. It's Wednesday, so we're going to be talking about Star Wars. We had another 2 episodes of The Bad Batch and also The Mandalorian. We're going to talk about them in great detail. So here's Elvin and here's Chris.
Wednesday. Wednesday, am I right?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
When is Wednesday?
Don't you know they have their own calendar or something over there?
Huh? Oh, right.
What? Come on, guys, you didn't even get it.
Went right over your days. Am I right? What did they say? Yeah.
Remember how she goes in the train? Tuesday, am I right? Or Tuesday is like a day or something.
Yeah. That was pretty.
You guys,
there was an old.
I can't even make a Star Wars joke with you guys.
This is an old Friends joke. If you guys ever watched Friends, Joey used to say Monday one day, Tuesday 2 day, Wednesday what, Thursday the third day. Like he always skipped over Wednesday.
Why?
I don't know.
That bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Good day today. How are you guys?
Wonderful.
Yes, Justin, always fashionably on time as usual.
I was perfectly on time. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. I was scarfing down 2 burgers. And yeah.
What kind of burgers? Do tell.
There's some beef burgers with some onion jam that I made.
Onion jam?
Yeah.
Like,
so
like a sweetness type?
Yeah. So you boil like onions in like vinegar and some ketchup and like a little bit of like maple syrup and salt and stuff. And you boil that for a bit and then they get nice and soft and sweet and salty and savory and go great on a burger.
You've had this before, Chris?
I have not had that, but I'm going to try it now.
It's really good.
I'm not a sweet meat type of person.
It's not sweet like
pulled pork. A lot of people love pulled pork.
No,
I like the barbecue type, but I don't like that sweetness ones. You know where they sugar in it and stuff like that to make it really sweet.
Yeah.
I'm not into that.
It's like you still load it up with more like pepper and like paprika and stuff like that. Most of the sweetness honestly comes from the ketchup. I just put a little bit of syrup in there just to help the caramelization on the onions.
I'm getting all hungry now.
Nice.
What a way to start the show. Get all hungry.
Next week we'll be like, "Hi everybody."
This episode brought to you by.
Yeah.
I had a drink. I actually ordered mango passion tea lemonade. Yeah.
Sure.
I ordered that. I left it upstairs, but I just got water instead.
So you looked at the menu and they were like, "What kind of drink do you want?" And then you
throw it all in
menu.
I'm trying to get myself. I'm trying to get used to Mexican drinks and food right now because I'm gonna go. So I'm like, I'll just order very tropical type of drinks. So get my body acclimated with that.
Falling down the stairwell.
Yeah. You got to be careful about mixed drinks in Mexico, right? Because the water.
Mexicans.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to be drinking a lot of bottled water, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
because even with mixed drinks, the ice, right? That's the other thing you got to be careful about.
I went and got my Twin Ricks vaccination done.
Yeah.
So I've got that done, but still, yeah, you're right. Got to keep an eye on that stuff. And that's not a slander to anybody in Mexico.
No.
It's just we have shitty immune system here.
Yeah.
That's what
Pretty
it
much.
is. That's exactly what it is. So anyway, speaking of shitty immune systems,
speaking of Mexico,
it's one of the worst systems you want to be in.
Great transition.
Speaking of Mexico, in this episode,
they go to Mexico.
Off to Cabo.
What was the place called? I forgot.
I don't know,
Pablo?
but what
Weibo?
What's Wanda Sykes' character again called?
Nobody cares.
You do, because it's actually kind of a joke now. And the hold on.
And you are right. She's not going to come on just for one episode. She's coming on for a couple.
Hey, here's the thing. I love Wanda Sykes' character now. She went from just like, oh, great, she's here to do a fucking superfluous episode. And now I'm just like, so, okay, first off, did I miss something last week? They were just like, oh, we've got to go do this thing. And now there's bad guys. And then they're like, oh, we got to stop talking to Sid. And the next episode, they're just hanging out with this character that they've introduced like twice. they're now all best friends, and then it's been like a month.
It's really weird. I thought I'm like, did I miss like an end credit scene or something? Like,
yeah,
it's weird the transition. It's like they just shoehorned this episode in the middle of everything.
kind of. It was fun.
It would have made sense having back-to-back Wanda episodes.
Yes,
that would have made more sense. So, I think this is a glorified filler episode.
Kind of, but it kind of sets up.
Well, that's why I'm saying glorified. There's a little trickle of importance to this episode, but the vast part of it is it's just to kill some time, right?
So her character is Fee Genoa.
Genoa.
Okay.
But when you say it fast, it's just Fiji Noah. So I was just like, wait, Fiji? Do they just go to Fiji? Like, what is this word association game?
There's somebody in this room that was born there.
I know. That's why I was saying you will care what her name is.
And that does nothing like where I was born.
No.
I mean, it did have a mountain.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But
yeah.
I'm still trying to catch up on. I've skipped some episodes. Got to catch up on this. So, is this the first time that Omega and the guys are kind of realizing that that this isn't the life for her? Or like just traveling and
Hunter?
They ever
like the entire point of, or like their entire motivation is to get enough money to fuck off somewhere that Omega can have a normal life,
right?
And that was kind of established early on, and then they're just like, never mind, she can shoot stuff.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of touching on that again, and now Fee was like, hey, maybe she should have friends, and they're like, what? No, she shoots stuff,
right?
So
yeah, I was just wondering if that had come up before or not.
We mentioned this in prior episodes that Omega just feels really awkward being in the presence of these guys when they're doing these missions, and I felt really awkward watching her sitting there in a negotiation.
I thought the opening was badass. Like everyone,
really, I thought it was Omega, really awkward.
It was, first off, it was straight out of Raiders, to the point where the name of the bar that they were in was named after the guy that Indy goes to meet with to get something in the beginning of, was it Raiders? Anyway, one of the Indiana Jones movies. It was like the bar in
when he goes to Nepal to get the medallion in Nepal in the first Raiders.
I think, is that the one where they go to the bar and it's
she's there, Marion's there? Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Is the little kid in there? That one too? That movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, that's the second movie then. The Temple of Doom.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But is the kid in the negotiations with Indy?
No.
That's the part I find weird.
He's got the rickshaw there afterwards.
It's like I find her sitting there and giving ideas and thoughts. And I'm
speaking of which, you won a grant,
Oscar.
I mean,
yeah,
Oscar, whatever.
Yeah, everything always. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt weird that she was there in the negotiation when she barely has any experience in terms of artifacts or even being an adult. So I just found that weird, but I'm trying to come to terms with it because I realize they have to have this character in there to bring along the younger crowd, right? That they want to pull in for ratings.
Yeah, Short Round, that was the name.
Short Round, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it now. I'm just kind of like just go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how Wanda's character says that she needs to be with kids her own age, and Tex is like, "What are you talking about? We weren't with kids our age. We're fine.
Yeah,
like, she's gonna be fine too. Don't worry about it." He's a very military way of thinking, right? Like,
yeah. I'm fine. I don't have PTSD constantly at all. I have perfect social skills. Can't you tell by this conversation? Well, it was kind of highlighted too in like the second episode or whatever when that old guy hands Omega a toy. She's like, "The fuck do I do with this?" And he's like, "You play with it. It brings you joy." And she's like, is this treasure? And he's like, no, play. You're in charge. Oh God.
Yeah, you know none of this, do you? Yeah. and you can see this weighing on Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter just sits there and goes, I'm not doing right by this kid here.
Yeah.
We need to let this kid be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And having her string along with all these dangerous missions, she can hold her own with us because we've trained her. Like he even says in that conversation, well, of course she can hold her own. We trained her.
Yeah.
Right. But you can tell it's like, yeah, you're right, because she's a kid at the end of the day, and we're robbing her of these precious, important moments in her life where she's not going to look back on fun and laughter. She's going to look at, escaping villains and deadly traps and stormtroopers shooting at them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that part you can see it weighing on him.
But I guess the problem is that they've been together for so long now that's the family, right? So it's not like they can just leave her. It's about them all being somewhere together.
Or maybe he's thinking that that's what he might have to do.
Yeah.
In order to have her. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello.
Yeah. So maybe they have to think that he has to think that maybe there has to be a decision where we're going to have to let her grow and become an adult, where we can maybe one day cross paths again.
Would that be like a season finale?
I think so.
Or
here's Justin with the hammer.
We'll talk about this more, I think, when we're talking about The Mandalorian. But these two shows are scarily merging.
Scarily
merging. Frighteningly merging. There's a lot of plot points that are coming up in The Mandalorian that it's just like, shit, they're kind of doing that. That's kind of what's happening here. Maybe they'll end up. They're talking about cloning stuff now. Dr. Pershing is in it. The giant mythosaur just got awoken, and because of a bombing run, and we just saw that they brought back the Zilla Beast from like the second season of Clone Wars into the Bad Batch, and then they tried cloning that. And Pershing was trying to get a metachlorian sensitive person that he could clone so that they could bring back Palpatine. But then they didn't get Grogu. So did they get Omega? Are we going to see a live action Omega in The Mandalorian? I doubt it, but somehow Palpatine returned.
Kimberly asked a question here.
Oh, we're talking about the Bad Batch right now, and then we're going to talk about The Mandalorian.
Yes,
but they kind of go together a little bit. That's what Justin's saying. Yeah.
Are you guys okay with the fact that it's still airing them both at the same day?
I don't care.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I know you don't care, but what I'm saying is, okay, Mandalorian is this massive TV show that will automatically pull good ratings, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this burying the Bad Batch because of that?
Yeah, well, not obviously for the diehard fans, right? They're going to watch it no matter what. So, are they going to pull in new people though? That's a good question, because
I would assume,
I don't know.
Just again, even casual people who are like, "Oh, that was a great episode," and then the auto suggestion just being like, "Hey, check out the Bad Batch," and you're like, "Whoa, more Star Wars stuff." Okay, so that might get in some people, because honestly, if we weren't talking about this show weekly and The Mandalorian wasn't on, I would probably wait till it all comes out. Like, I'm not like, oh, God, catch it next week. Like, it's fine. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not like on the edge of my seat. I mean, the last couple episodes got me in. This one pushed me back out.
The Bad Batch you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit more of this episode. So Wanda gets this statue, whatever it is, and
it belongs in a museum.
And, she brings it to her planet, home world. Is that her home world?
She said it's her home away from home.
So her Airbnb.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
okay.
That's where she summers.
Okay. So she's
like
there.
The Hamptons.
Yeah. There you go. So she has a relative there, right?
I think it's a surrogate, but
and a niece, I guess. They show up there, and the niece happens to be the same age as Omega, which is obviously what she was referring to when she was telling Hunter that she needs to hang out with, play with people her age. And it was sort of like a resting and a vacation spot for the guys.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
I loved when she introduced the mayor to everyone. And he's like, yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And he gets to Wrecker and he's like, yeah, another big boy. Come here.
We're going to have a feast. And they have a big, beautiful feast. And I think the team kind of needed it, kind of like re-energize and just, you don't have to be on edge, right? It was like, we can actually relax, have some food. And Wrecker says, I'm full.
Yeah,
I've never been full.
Tech makes a joke, and then he goes, "Okay,
I'm gonna record."
Yeah, that's right.
I will. I'll record this for future reference.
Yeah, Nate goes, "Come here."
Yeah, come here.
Yeah, it was really nice because they're eating scraps and they're barely getting by, and now they're getting spoiled with amazing sushi. It looked like sushi.
It did, yeah.
Sushi with some, ramen probably, and then all of a sudden they have dessert there, and Wrecker's just about to fall off his chair. He's like, "What? Like what? This is insane. I love this life." He goes, and I always thought that should be the ending of the show. If it ever ends the show, they gotta go out in the sunset in a beautiful place.
Yeah, I actually
hang their helmets for good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when this was about 3/4 of the way through the episode, kind of, or about halfway through when they were all relaxing, I was like, wait, how many episodes are in this season? Like, is it just going to end like this? And they're like, yeah, they're on a beach now. Okay. Credits. I'd be like, am I upset about that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Then I remember
it didn't bother me. Like, I mean, I knew this wasn't the end, but I'm like, this is a filler, but it didn't bother me because I'm like, they need a good feel-good moment somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how much can they go through as a team and not have any positive episodes, right? So this was like a good charge your energy.
It is actually, a lot of shows will do that for the viewer as well, right? You can't just continually watch like action and all these episodes that you're on the edge of your seat. They kind of have to bring it down a bit. So they're probably doing that.
Yeah, because then it loses the intrigue and the stress, because it's just like, oh no, they're being shot at again. What are they gonna do? Oh, they got out. Weird.
Yeah.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed those happy moments, but every episode's gotta have a little bit of problem.
And now they're up against Mother Nature.
Mount Titataki just went off hill, right? Just got angry and massive earthquakes happened. I honestly thought it was like something underneath, like a monster or something that's gonna come out, right? That's what I thought. But it just turns out to be seismic earthquakes, right? And I do like the realism of this. Like the real threat wasn't the actual earthquake. It was the tsunami that's going to take place right after it, which is how in real life it happens for a lot of places. Also,
Omega and whatever her new friends, if they knew, oh, there's an earthquake, oh, there's going to be a tsunami, stay on the fucking boat. The best place to be during a tsunami is in the water on a boat, like way off the shoreline. Because all that happens when you're on a tsunami, it just goes, and there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Before the wave gets too massive. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it sounded like, and again, it sounded like this happens all the time on this island, right? Like they were all kind of used to it.
Yeah. Our friend Nathan, who said he will join us as soon as he's finished work today.
Oh, no worries.
Sorry, Chris, what you were saying?
No, I was saying that wasn't like the first time that this has happened. The people that live on the island, these earthquakes happened before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, it's just an earthquake."
But they didn't really tell the clones at first. Like they all thought it was, like you guys said, like we thought it was some big monster. But anyways,
hello, just like, no, this one's the what's the fault that California's on or whatever, that they're the big one hits.
San Andreas.
Yeah, something like that. And this was just They're like, ah, these happen all the time. And then they're like, oh shit, this is the big one. Okay.
Yeah.
I love the one bit where he's like, it's not earthquake, the early warning signs, and like shit. And I also loved how they were almost not practical, but they like they didn't seem like they were electronically controlled or anything. It looked like almost there was maybe like a hole in the ground, it went all the way down, and when pressure changes, it shoots air up and then activates the horns. They just looked super, not primitive, but just like naturally occurring early warning signs, which was a really cool design choice.
Like Kimberly says, Chris W. loved the poster of Grogu in the background. That is a very nice poster.
It's
my wife bought me that.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I have like so many different. I have my Andor shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, see it, but,
worst TV show on earth, but yeah, I'll forgive you for that.
I think
we got more of it.
I think there's been worse shows than that. Come on.
Yeah.
What? Obi-Wan was amazing. Don't you love that?
Starts with a W and ends with the worst fucking TV show that ends in illo.
With pillows.
Well, you don't like that trench coat scene when she's covering the little girl?
Oh god.
Oh my God.
You mean a Little Rascals reference?
Yeah. Oh. No one's gonna see her.
Yeah. Stealth.
You guys make me want to watch Willow. If it's that bad, I want.
It's so bad.
Oh, I'm telling you, you should watch it. You'll laugh. If you
I'm
want
going
entertainment,
I'm gonna watch it now.
you have to watch it because you will just laugh at how bad it is.
All right.
Again, best episode is like episode 8 or 9 when the episode ends with somebody like drowning to death and you fucking hate that character the whole time and you're like, yay, if I stop watching now, in my head canon, she died. Cool. And then the next episode, you're like, oh no, they save her. Damn it.
So I'll stop after.
There are some good fight
scenes.
There are some good fight scenes in there.
Yeah, the first episode, there's really cool designs of the bad guys, and then the fight scenes, and you're like, whoa, this has potential. And then it never pays off or happens again. And you're like, okay, cool.
Nathan says the best part about watching Willow is when you finish it.
Yep.
I would tend to agree with that. But they're not finished because there are 2 other books that they see in the shelves.
Oh, goody, gumdrops.
Okay, going back to this. So, big earthquake comes. They got to get all the people up into the hills because that's their base of safety. And this is a big tower. And how fast they were able to coordinate things was kind of surprising, too. What are we looking at? Maybe 200-300 people living in that island?
Oh,
it's got to be a small amount
more.
because they were able to knock
Probably
on doors
more.
and get everybody out and above.
they had giant air raid sirens that were just like, yo, shit's fucked, go outside.
Yeah.
So,
But still, I mean, it can't be in the thousands, can it?
I mean, it looked like a big city.
Yeah, I think it. I don't know. Between I'd say it more than close to 1,000. I would think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they had a really good execution plan. The mayor was pretty smart about it, including the ladders, which I thought was pretty cool, right? But there's 2 ladders. I don't know, like how fast is the ladder going to be versus running up the hill?
Well,
Right?
then you get people pushing off, and chaos ensues. Crowds, they push each other. People get trampled. So ladders maybe are a better option.
I don't know, but I guess it doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
To alleviate some of that, traffic jam they're going to have going up the hill. But yeah, they did a good job. Kudos to them to rescue everybody out of there. And then obviously Hunter has to get in that ship and rescue Amiga and the other girl, which I think they did a good job.
Oh, and the old guy.
Oh man, the old guy.
Just who voices him?
No.
Steve
Carell?
Blum. No, the same guy who voices Zeb from Rebels.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, he was just chilling there. He's like, "What's going on?" Okay, sure. I'm just having my beer here.
Me?
Oh, little Jack Daniels on the side. And then you just see Wrecker just pick him up. Swoop.
Yeah.
He's still got his drink in his hand.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we're doing this.
Where's the party?
Yeah. Yeah, overall, satisfactory episode. I don't know.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
I think the point you made earlier about seeing them and happy and stuff like that and relaxed before the earthquake hits. Yeah. I think that was a good point.
Do you think this is the calm before the storm?
I hope so. Because again, we got 2 episodes in a row that were just like, here's the bad guy, here's terrible shit that's happening, and Chris, to your point of like, we got to see a little bit of a valley before it tries to do a peak again, and we got a few episodes that have been pretty intense and pretty high stakes. So I do like that it started with like a bar fight kind of shootout thing. There was some cool stuff in there and some it was interesting to watch, because then we're like already excited and then we get to see them relax. Because if it was just like, oh, Wanda Sykes brought us to Cabo, it'd be like, well, this what? But so it kind of did throw in, and also too, the Mandalorian kind of did the same thing too, where it was like, here's some action. Okay, you good? Okay, now we need to bring it down and talk about like stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay. So I think it was well thought. It was a well executed episode for what I hope it is going to achieve when we see the next or the remainder of the season.
Okay, fair enough.
What is sorry, is there 18 episodes? Is that what it is? Bad Batch?
17, 18, something like that.
17, 18?
It will be 16.
16.
Oh, okay, so we weren't even close.
Three more.
Okay.
So, Alvin, what do you rate this episode?
Is there anything we missed? Because we went through that fast.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I honestly, I kind of fell asleep.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah,
it's not horrible. It's not great. It's kind of in the middle there, average. I like personally them being happy and relaxing and enjoying it a little bit. I thought it was cool, right? I like the fact that Hunter's, weighing this, in his head, going, "What am I doing? Are we doing right by her?"
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really like that where he, his eyes, they focused in on his eyes and his thinking.
Yeah,
and you could tell a lot from that couple seconds, right? So I like that part.
I feel like if they end the season where they separate, it's going to be their choice. Like they're going to leave her somewhere or something like that. And she's going to be, upset over it or something like that.
And I mean, we could have that time jump from season 2 to season 3. And then she's a little bit older now.
Sure.
That would make sense. They're still out in the galaxy doing their thing and they come back to see her.
I mean, they did the exact same thing with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So, I think I'll probably parrot that too. Just a 7. Like, it wasn't mind blowing. It wasn't bad. Like, it was fun. It had a cool beginning, and it potentially has some important Star Warsy stuff for the episode.
Nathan's coming in hot. He's like, "You guys like this episode?" Question mark. Question mark.
I liked the intro, and I fell asleep while watching it. But compared to the other filler episodes, which did not move the plot forward whatsoever and insulted the viewer, if nothing happens with the things that they established or talked about in this episode, then I will hate this episode.
He says, "I was
for plot points.
I was as disappointed in this episode as my family is." Oh my god,
isn't me?
They are not. You're outstanding gentlemen. They are not disappointed. Shit. Just I don't know what this guy talking about. One of the nicest guys ever.
It was fine. it didn't move the needle, but I wasn't mad about it.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Chris, what would give it out of 10?
I'll keep it same with you guys.
7s
again. Yeah. Again, I like we've already touched on this point. It's going to build from here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of needed it.
Yeah. Okay. 7 out of 10. What episode was this? The 10th?
13.
13.
We're at 13 already? Wow. Time flies.
Yeah, there's three episodes left. So like that's what I mean. It might be like
all right, they got their sushi on. They got their energy back. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's go time now.
Yeah.
It's biscuits only now, and biscuits and water.
Oh, speaking of biscuits,
Yeah, you know why I said that. Flavored biscuit, right? What was their favorite biscuit? Lemon biscuit or something?
something like that. No, he just said yellow biscuit, which
Yeah.
reminds me of there's this what is it,
It doesn't
Steve?
sound delicious when you say yellow biscuit.
Steve. I can't remember.
Sounds like yellow snow. It's
There's
like
this
yellow
Australian
Yeah,
comedian.
exactly.
There's this Australian comedian who's got this bit where he's describing British food, and he's like, you go in and you go, okay, what do you got there? And he's like, we got red sauce and brown sauce. And he's like, okay, what does it taste like? And he's like, red flavor, brown flavor. I miss the yellow biscuits. I miss the red biscuits. What tastes like red?
Before we get into the Mandalorian talk, just want to remind anybody that's finding us for the first time, welcome. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, let other people know as well. We enjoy having conversations with you guys on our many different live videos that we do every week. We do the Monday nights at 8:30 p.m., which is sort of a pop cultural centric show, and then Popcorn Chicken is very movie and TV show related. So whatever hot movie or TV show is going on, we'll dive into it using the Pop Chicken segment. And then we also have our Saturday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Our Mighty Mornings. It's to sort of look back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s animated era, which was arguably one of the greatest eras. So we look back on that. That's a bi-weekly show. This Saturday, I will be joining with my other friend, Christopher, our second Chris in the team. He and I will be breaking down a top show that we're not going to reveal till the day of in the morning. So 8:30 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday morning. We just finished The Last of Us on Sundays. We were doing a weekly episodic breakdown of it. So it just finished. Go check those out because go check that show out as well because that is a great show. We were giving it some really high marks throughout the whole season. So we can't recommend that show enough. And also head up to our social media, A&R Universe. Say hi to us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're everywhere. So thank you and welcome. All right. Mando. It starts off where we left off.
Yeah, like
immediately.
Second.
Yeah. She did him dirty. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
She did him dirty, man. I'm disappointed in her.
I'm not. She's disappointed. Okay, so starts off they're in at the living waters in the mines of Moria or Mandalore or whatever the fuck.
I think you got the two mixed up here.
I don't know.
With Gimli and
yeah, Gimli's there.
Grogu's
cooking some
Gimli.
Potatoes. And
Mando's got a ring for her.
Yeah. And she's like, did you see anything down there? And he's like, I don't know, water. I didn't know it went that deep. And she was like, oh yes, blah blah blah, Empire blom. And then she's like, did you see anything alive? Now, and then he says, no, I don't know. And she's like, oh, okay, anyway, and brushes it off. So he didn't see the mythosaur. There's two things. Either she isn't sure what she saw, and this is like a religious awakening for her, because when he was saying the creed and walking into the water, which by the way, he just fucking fell because he was too enamored with the process that he took his jetpack off and forgot that, or because it's not supposed to be deep. Whatever. Anyway, he just fell because he's covered in the heaviest adamantium.
Do you fall that fast though?
If you're covered in like,
yeah,
what, 1,200 pounds of fucking plate armor?
Yeah,
probably.
You're like an anchor at that point. Yeah.
Could also depend on what that water's like too, right? The density of the water or something.
Yeah, a current as well.
Yeah, lot
pulling
of things.
him down.
So
riptide, right? Yeah,
and we see her later get like re-accepted into the order, and she was kind of awestruck and just silenced. And I thought she was just gonna be like, all right, I'm one of you again. Okay, fuck you, and take the helmet off.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
There.
Like,
yeah.
But so it's either like she's just like, shit, like the living waters are like an actual thing, and like this was beautiful, and you know what, I can kind of see what he's believing in. And then now she's just like, wait, a mythosaur is real? No, like maybe she might be just awestruck and is rethinking everything she believed in. And because she talked about like her parents, like, oh yeah, they made me do the creed, made me do all this hokey pokey stuff, and I thought it was all bullshit. So now she's just like, shit, this is all real. Or she's like, I could tame that mythosaur. Since I don't have the dark saber, people will listen to me because I got a giant fuck off dinosaur that I'm going to ride. And now I can bring Mandalore back to its glory, and I don't need to fight Din Djarin, who will totally kick my ass.
Yeah,
or a bit of both.
I think she's she's confused, right?
Mhm.
I think it's a little bit of. I think you're right. It's a little bit of both, and she doesn't know. She's just trying to figure it all out as it goes.
I honestly thought she should have told she should have told Din what she saw, because even if she's like, did I really see this beast underwater or did I trip out?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's ask him. And she did in a way, but also Din should have been like, why do you keep asking me questions about this? Like,
that's what I thought.
What did you
like
see?
If someone asked me if I saw an animal, did you see a big monster down there? No, like
me neither.
Yeah.
What are we playing 20 questions? Come on, what do we do?
I don't know. I thought they were having this, like, I predicted that at the end of the show they're going to be an item. I don't know if that's going to be, because, well, maybe it's still possible right now because she's so like dazed in what's happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a kick in the pants for her in her beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Like, this just flipped everything upside down for her. The whole time she was just sitting on her throne, feet up, going, what? Creed, what are you guys talking about, you weirdos? And now she's like, oh my god, there's a giant beast that we all talked about, my parents talked about, under my kingdom.
Yeah,
the whole time there, right? But that also comes into question: did the first Mando defeat the beast, or is that all a lie?
There was multiple. They rode them, and that's
multiple. Okay,
yeah, but they just drove them into extinction. There's even a mythosaur, like you see a mythosaur skeleton on Tatooine.
Okay,
and like so it's not that they were like, oh, there was a dragon and I killed it and now I'm the leader or whatever. They tamed them. Like they were they were the Denari, whatever, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Whatever. I'm just gonna reference.
Is she gonna be Khaleesi then?
Yeah, she's gonna be the mother of dragons, mother of mythosaurs.
Oh god. Yeah. Well, they've already got a short guy, Grogu. So
that's true. Yeah, and then fucking Willow will show up.
Oh god. Oh god. Stop. Don't ruin the show.
You know what?
Sorry, I have a problem with this episode.
Okay.
I don't like
because it reminded you of Andor.
No. Maybe. I don't like the back and forth. I didn't like it.
What do you mean back and forth?
The show felt like two different episodes smashed together. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's weird for me to talk about Mando and all this going on with him and his creed, and all of a sudden we go to Coruscant, and there's no hint of that at all. It just felt like two different episodes smashed together to make a sandwich.
Yeah,
but
until
I think it would have been. I think it would have been. Sorry, I think it would have been worse if they did jump back and forth instead of just sort of bookending it like they did Mando at the beginning and at the end. Like if they kept, I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. I'm glad they got to Coruscant and just told that whole story out and then jump back to him instead of going back and forth. Could we not just
have two separate episodes?
Sure, but then
that would have worked better, wouldn't it?
But they did that with
Boba Fett. Whole story.
They did that with Boba Fett's to the opposite effect, where they were like, "Oh, the two best episodes are the only ones that don't have the main character." And if they had and I think with what they did with the Bad Batch today or yesterday or the episode that just came out, they started it off with like, "Here's an action scene, here's a fight scene. Now we need to tell kind of a slower story because we need to start this establishment of this new story." And so it's like, here's a rehab camp for X, and they are pulling so much like World War II and like Vietnam-esque stuff. It's insane. where this was just like, here's the Star Wars version of Operation Paperclip, where the U.S. just scooped up every Nazi scientist they could after World War II, and they're just like, build rockets for us. And now they're just like, Empire's done. Yo, come do stuff. Here's your therapy robot, or here's your HR droid. And
well, the difference between what you mentioned about the Boba Fett and the Mando was Mando overpowers Boba Fett's story. Right?
Yeah,
but
no,
here,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't
That's
think
what
there was no fear of having the scientist guy overpower Mando.
No,
right?
I said to the opposite effect, where people would be like, this is the worst episode because it didn't have anything to do with the Mandalorian. And again, I think that's why they started with like, here's an amazing fucking
battle
dogfight scene battle.
Yeah.
And then we need to start this new story, which I assume is going to turn into a huge plot point later on. So instead of like peppering this so far, and also too, this is episode 3.
Yep.
Like they have taken no time. Like they are sprinting to tell the story,
which could hurt them. Right?
Yeah.
Why is there need to race? That's what I don't understand. They have an endless amount of budget. Why is there a need to race through this thing? It's clearly the biggest show they have going.
Because they
treat it like a fine wine. Let's sip at it. Let's not gargle this down like beer. Right?
Sure.
No offense.
But the next episode is
I know you love beer.
None taken. But the next episode is being directed by it's either Dave Filoni or Favreau, which implies that it's gonna kick off because either
it's gonna have some crossovers.
Well, he only directs the episodes that have characters that he made in it. So
there you go.
Either Ahsoka shows up or someone else.
Very bluish skin tone.
Well, here's the thing.
Avatar?
How many fucking Jake Scully, everybody. Boo from Monsters Inc. shows
that
up.
Is blue. That's why he's light green.
Well, I mean, they kind of hint they know everyone is just chomping at the bit to figure out who the villain's going to be. And they keep dropping little subtle hints and just like, oh, I wonder who that is. Like when they were flying and Bo is just like, oh, that's a lot of TIE interceptors for Imperial Warlord. And like just shy of looking at the camera and being like,
hint.
Yeah.
All I want to hear is the Dark Shadow shows up and goes, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Actually, there has been some anti-rumors about
anti-rumor. That's the first I've heard of that. Okay.
I'm coining it now. It's my own term. So it was pretty much confirmed, or it was in the zeitgeist. Everyone thought, was it Lars Mikkelsen? Mads Mikkelsen's brother or something?
Yeah.
That Lars Mikkelsen was who originally voiced Grand Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, was going to play him in live action. And that was just like, oh yeah, he's just doing that. Like everyone thought
he'd be perfect, actually.
He just got interviewed and he was like, they haven't talked to me at all. So he's like, I would love to, but Disney has not said a fucking word to me.
That's a kick in the pills for me.
They must have someone else doing it. Or he is just so close to the chest, and Disney is like, if you say a fucking word,
you'll never work in this town ever again.
So
you'll be picking up garbage at Disney World.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, honestly, to me, it just felt like two entirely different episodes. I wasn't happy with the going from Coruscant to the home world of the Mandos, blah blah blah. Let's talk about Mando first. Let's finish off that part, and then we'll get into the other part. So he gets a little vial of water, and I was just like, at first I was like, how are you gonna know? You can just get any water from anywhere, right?
You just spit into it on the way.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, you can just piss in it
the water
to her, right? This is the way. Here you go, right?
have Grogu drinking it. Grogu drinking it in the back.
No! It just shakes him more.
Yeah.
Get him to spit up into her, to the armor's pool.
But sure enough, the armor apparently already has a little bit of the holy water.
Well, that was actually what she was using in her forging process. So maybe he already knew that. Oh,
yeah,
she used it because we see a few times that she does dump it and it has that same effect. So maybe it's part of the forging of their armor, and it's just
that's
common
a good point.
knowledge. So.
Yeah, possibly. That's why he probably knew. Like, if I take it to her, she's gonna dump in that thing. It's gonna make that chemical reaction. She'll know.
Yeah.
And so she, I just love how the heavy Armando comes out and goes, "What do you want, man?
Yeah,
you back
You're
here
welcome
again?
here.
And this time you bought your lady friend?
Yeah.
Okay."
I thought we told you not to come around these parts.
You're not part of the crew anymore, homie.
Fuck out of here.
Get the step in. The highway's that way. Oh man, that was good. And then he's like, "Hey, I got something. I think I'm back here." And he's like, okay. And then they're like, "This is the way. Let him go." And he goes to the armor, and she dumps it in, and she goes, "You're back."
Yep.
And then they have this big party, and everyone's high-fiving everywhere. All the Bud Lights just get opened up all of a sudden. Right? This Bud's for you.
Yeah, actually, this isn't a rangefinder on these helmets. A little known fact, actually, that's for
opening beers.
No, beer bongs. So you pour the beer in there, and it just goes right into
I thought you meant the dent on the side. It was the cork the beer.
Yeah, after
that's
too many
Stone
beers.
Cold Steve Austin doing it.
Coronas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so big, huge thing. He is back in the fold now. He is a Mando now, and the crazy part is that's like she's like, "Did you bathe in the water too?" And she's like, "That's a horrible accent," but she's like, "Yes, I had to rescue."
This dumbass.
She bathed in the water.
Yes, we drowned in the water. I hope that counts.
Still got some in my lungs if you want to test.
And have you taken your helmet off since then? No. This is the way.
Yeah, they're just like, all right, checks out.
Yeah, you are too now part of the clan. And she's kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I don't think she cared, did she?
I think she
could care less.
Because she just got excommunicated by everyone. She's like, okay, I'm on. She's been on this quest to reunite Mandalore, and she went to go fulfill that. Get the Darksaber. She couldn't get the Darksaber, so then she's like, all right, fuck it, I'll just go back. And then they're just like, no one cares about you. So they all left, and she's just sitting in a castle by herself, and now she has family.
No castle anymore, by the way.
Well, no castle too. Okay,
that was a gut-wrenching moment.
That fight scene was so fucking the J-turn that she pulled.
Yes, that was awesome.
Just like that was so cool, that dogfight.
The one thing that still amazes me about this show is how they can show emotion with a bunch of people that are wearing helmets.
Yeah.
Just by simple like head turns and stuff like that. It's just like they do such a good job of just you know exactly what they're thinking just by the way they're slowly turning.
How many reshoots do you think of a reaction shots do you think they take of just like, did I get that you meant to be sad when you turned a 45-degree angle?
At least 20.
Be sad. Now be happy. Now be mad. Okay, turn like this. Turn like that. There you go. You're good.
Yeah.
At least 20 times per.
I find they're making Bo-Katan, giving her a little like comedy a little bit more too in this episode. I noticed. Yeah. With the
but also R5.
They got to make sure that she doesn't get hated because there's a lot of people that don't like her as a character, right? So they got to improve that image because maybe they have something planned, like the two of them getting together, or she finally holds the blade, right? So they got to make her likable.
To your point there, Chris, about like showing emotion in a mask, that is a huge credit too, as well, to the score and to the soundtrack. That
I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
He's Swedish.
He did all the Wakanda Forever soundtrack too. Look up his name.
Ludwig Göransson.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yeah. Because every time even when Mando flies back in, right? He comes in to save.
Yeah.
It's like boom, there's his theme right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time.
It was really
Speaking
good.
of that part, that was pretty cool how she dumps him.
Yeah,
And she's like,
jet-
"Here we go. I got no chance to slow down.
yeah,
You figure it out. Right?
tuck and
he-
roll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tuck and roll for sure. He gets in there just in time and then flies out in his roadster there and starts shooting some bad guys down. By the way, advanced TIE fighters, because these are they look a little bit new.
These are TIE Advanced, which we have not
4.0?
seen since. No, these are just regular TIE Fighter Interceptors. The Advanced have 3 wings. The Interceptors we haven't seen in live action since Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and then the bombers, right, flying above, and that's such a gut wrenching moment for her. I mean, talk about just being pounded to the ground and just losing everything in life.
Yep,
like you lost
your
sword,
laser sword.
You lost your reputation,
Family.
you lost your crew, and now you lost your castle. It's just one thing after another. Bang, bang, bang. Right?
Well, no, it was family. They all got assassinated.
Yeah.
Darth Maul killed the last one.
Homeworld
of her family. Then the planet. Then your crew. Now your house. Yeah. So now she's like, oh, I have a family again. I haven't had a family or a crew for I don't know 20 however long. So yeah, that end scene kind of made me think maybe she wasn't hiding it from Din. Maybe she was just like, I don't know what I am or what's real, and she's just like dumbfounded by the last 30-40 years, just like being like, I don't know what is anymore.
Do you think that she feels loved now with this crew? Because she's lost everything, and now she's gaining a crew, and maybe she feels like I should, maybe she's like, maybe I'll do this. I'll abide by the creed and not take my helmet off. But the armor does say to her, you can leave whenever you want.
Yeah,
we're not going to hold you to it. But once you leave, you can never come back, probably, right?
No. Once you leave, you can come back, but it's just as long as you stay by our rules. Which
that's what I mean.
It's kind of like when you're under my house, my rules, but like the rules are don't take your hat off.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I pretty like for the rest of this season, I could see. I think she's at some point she's going to be taking her helmet off because of who she is, But does he take his helmet off? Because he's done it every season at some point, But I'm interested to see just the 3 of them do like a little off adventure, like Bo-Katan and Din working together.
Does she die in this season?
Ooh.
And he takes the helmet off?
I still think your idea of like King and Queen riding a fucking mythosaur with the Darksaber.
I hope so, man, because the 2 of them will be a power couple. I'm telling you right now.
Also, and then grounding Grogu.
Yeah.
Go to your room.
Go back to your room. Go play with the lizard that you ate.
Also, if they did that, it would be the biggest fuck you to the Boba Fett show, because it'd be just like, oh yeah, that's a cute Rancor. Oh yeah. Oh, Danny Trejo gave it to you. Okay. Oh, whatever.
Oh, man,
we've got a mythical beast.
Yeah. Oh man, you can never. Boba Fett can never even show up in that town ever again.
Yeah.
But apparently he's supposed to make a cameo too.
Yeah. I rewatched the episode with Bill Burr of The Mandalorian. That was such an amazing episode, and it was like it had Boba Fett being fucking badass using the seismic charges. It had Bill Burr like showing the world that he is an incredible actor, like not just hey, he's pretty good, like dynamic range and just everyone who was in it.
He did more, like people have said this before. He did more in that episode than I hate to talk about the sequels,
Willow?
but no, Finn. Finn, the stormtrooper, did in 3 movies, like just by that little episode, that little scene.
Well, and it was borderline the same archetype too. It was an ex-stormtrooper that is now left the order, and like it was so good.
Yeah, I mean, So then, this is why I didn't like it. Like I said to you guys earlier, is when they flipped to this other part of the show, the Coruscant. I honestly didn't care. I was just like, I don't care about this guy. I thought he was dead. Why are they bringing him back? I thought it was funny though, how everything's still the same, but not.
Mhm.
You know, like they're all pretending that there's been major change in that capital, but
Yeah.
everybody's still there. All the sleaze, all the rich people, politicians, they're all still there, right? Nothing's really changed at the ground level.
Well, I bring this up too because, or I bring up that episode of Mandalorian with Bill Burr because he had borderline that same sentiment where he's just like Republic, Empire, like nobody gives a shit. You know, what was his line? He was like, they all believe different things, but Mandalore, oh fuck, what was Alderaan? You know, they believe different things and argued about it all the time. But guess what? Those planets don't exist anymore, so who cares?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. Is there anything else before we're gonna go talk about the other part of the show? Anything else of importance? Nope.
This is the way.
This is the way. I'll let the two of you talk about this more than me because I'll be honest with you, I was sort of like going in and out of there with like about to pass out because I was just like, this is boring. And no offense to anybody who finds it interesting. Good for you guys.
Fine.
And if the two of you find it interesting, I want to know why, because maybe I missed something. But
to me, that whole part was just like, who's lurking in the shadows? Who's doing all this, right? Who's behind it all?
Well, people are saying it's Moff Gideon and then it's Grant above him.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what people are saying.
That's a possibility. Well, this episode was the most Andor episode of The Mandalorian, where it goes into the seedy underbelly once again on Coruscant. The first time we've seen Coruscant in The Mandalorian, if I'm not mistaken. And it goes with Dr. Pershing doing a speech about his work and kind of pleading his case after he gets accepted into the amnesty program. And it was also, that was in the same theater.
That's what I was going to say. It's
Palpatine. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. When Palpatine was talking to Anakin.
It's the same set of stairs that Anakin runs up there.
Yeah. So, and that was kind of also too to show like whoever's in charge doesn't really matter. And like after he finished his speech talking about like, oh, I was working on great things, but terrible people turned it into something horrible. And Pershing wasn't Imperial. He was essentially contracted by the Imperial because he wasn't like an Imperial officer he wasn't conscripted or anything like that. He worked for a cloning facility, which the Empire funded on a bunch of different places, but which is probably why he got accepted into the amnesty thing, because he wasn't technically Imperial anyway. But and then we get, when he finishes his speech, he goes outside and we see all the Coruscants, hoity-toity fucking whatever, which was an awesome nod to all of the like dinner parties that we see with Mon Mothma, of just like the elite just being like, oh, I don't care who's in charge as long as they pay my bills.
Yeah. The underbelly of sleaze politicians still there.
Yeah.
And
they're all congratulating him and saying, saying how great he is and everything.
Yeah. And then he goes to the apartments, meets some people, talks about some biscuits, meets a girl who used to work under Moff Gideon, who we saw in a couple episodes. And the fact that he wasn't like, oh, I've met you before or whatever. Oh, he's just like, yo, used to work for that fucking Nazi guy too. Man, that sucked, huh? And I was like, okay, he's not super sketchy. Then they talk, she gets some biscuits. And they do a heist because he wants to continue working. And then also too, this was the longest episode of this season. It was almost an hour.
Long. It felt long.
It was 59 minutes or something, like including credits and all that.
Yeah.
So
which is why I'm saying that it could theoretically have been 2 episodes, because the first episode was only 30 minutes.
Sure. But had they just given you a chase scene and then half of this story, I think it would have pissed us off. If it was
No,
like 30
don't give it
minutes.
half. I would say just finish off that chase scene with the whole, like you could add 10 minutes to that Mando story and really, like
And then,
after they welcome them, they could have like a barbecue or something. I don't know, like right?
well, yeah, they got that big
lizard
turtle
they
monster.
Well, they got the giant lizard that they killed.
Yeah,
there's a lot of meat there they could have put on the grill.
You're right. They could have done that and then ended with seeing the doctor at the end of the episode to move into the next episode.
Giving him his own episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it would be this is a filler, but it's a filler where it piques your interest about the bigger overall story, what's happening.
I wouldn't call this a filler. I would call this a setup.
Yeah, okay, that's probably a better way to put a setup. Yeah,
because I think it's laying the groundwork for a lot of things. I mean, it obviously is, because we're getting back into the starting of the cloning facilities and whatnot, and also how are they going to eat barbecue ribs with those helmets on? How are you going to type with Strongman? How do you type with boxing gloves on your hands?
Hey, you find the way. Like, this is the way. When it comes to ribs, you find a way.
That's what they do when they're eating. This is the way. No, this is the way. No, this is the way.
Well, they just smoke them for 15 hours, so then it's fall off the bone. So then you literally just go, and it just falls right off the bone.
Ribs,
Mandalorian barbecues. They're
delish.
Just.
Yeah. Speaking of ribs, when are they bringing back Captain Kale? Remember him?
Oh yeah.
When are they bringing back Captain Kale?
Captain Kale.
So good.
He's going to be the main bad guy. That's who all the TIE interceptors were owned by.
My prediction is that he's going to go. Him and his team are going to go take over. I forget Carl Weathers' character, and Mando and Bo-Katan are going to have to go. Yeah, go and save him or something like that.
Yep. And then
we have what's his name?
Schwarzenegger shows up.
No,
you son of a bitch.
Bill Burr and the other guy show up. What's the name? The guy who had Boba's outfit on?
The
Billy
Marshal.
Bob Thornton.
Yeah,
Billy Bob Thornton. No, we'll have Bill Burr and that character show up, and they'll help him.
Yeah, Bill Burr's still alive too, because they were like, because they picked him up from a junkyard prison camp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and then in the end, they're like, "Oh, it's a shame that guy died." Yeah. Oh man, and then he's like, "Are you saying I should go? Because I can just go." And then he just slowly walks away.
Cobb Vanth.
Yeah. They definitely need to bring that character back.
Yeah.
Didn't they show him at the end of, like, he got shot right at the end of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
By what's his name?
That
guy.
This guy.
Cad Bane.
Yep.
But then they showed him in the tank at the end, right?
Yeah, he was getting healed by the Bacta tank. That's right.
Yeah.
So they established that, and they have no problem with just dumping shit that is very heavy to the plot in other shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I know. I get confused. I'm like, did that happen in that show or that show or that show? Yeah.
But so then he meets up with an old coworker. He wants to continue his work. He asks his therapy droids, or his not therapy droids. It's his parole officer droids. Hey, can I continue work?
By the way, find it weird that he keeps touching his earlobes.
He got it fucking shot off.
So why is he touching it though? Like,
because it's like a PTSD thing. He got he's got like an augmented ear now. Mando shot his fucking ear off. So anytime he talks about the old work, he's just like, it's like a nervous tick.
Right.
And two, did not have that, like, a flashback of him getting his ear shot off every time he touched his ear, which is a very, I really appreciated the subtleness of that that choice on the actor's part, or director's part, whoever made that decision. But yeah, it was a really cool nod to, or really cool reference to his past.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, he got his fucking ear shot off.
Yikes.
But then he asks his parole officer droid, "Hey, can you do my old work?" And then it's just like, you used to do cloning. Das ist verboten. Nein. So then he's like, oh, okay. And then his new partner, who's apparently a rat, is like, no, it's for the greater good. You should continue your work. And then one thing that this episode did, which we haven't seen, is lay the groundworks for why the First Order was able to come back into power. We've seen, the Empire fell, the rebellion, it took over, and it's awesome, and everything's great. But it was so anti-imperial that we see in this episode, like, oh, there's all these ships and all this medical equipment, and they're like, nope, fucking burn it all. It's got the insignia on it. Nope. Get rid of it. And he's like, we can repurpose this. And he's like, it's above your pay grade. Just fucking do your job. And it was that. And they were scrapping Star Destroyers to then make their big capital ships. And they weren't scrapping them as in salvaging them. They were just like, burn it to the ground. Just torch it all. Also, too, the cab that he gets in, or when they're on the train, it annoyed me because it made train noises. It made like SkyTrain noises, and I was like, "This is a hovercraft."
PTSD for you.
It shouldn't make SkyTrain noises. It shouldn't make metal grinding on a rail noise. But whatever. It should make like Jetson sounds. But they went through a tunnel and then went over these big fields, and it looked exactly or very similar to where Anakin and Obi-Wan, when they're chasing the bounty hunter, go through in the speeder chase in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
it was very similar. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of industrial oil plants or whatever the fuck it was, but yeah. So they get
I actually found the first, when they come to Coruscant, the very first shot, they're doing like a panning shot, and I was like, this looks like Attack of the Clones. Like right away.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
And even that cab that he goes in when he's leaving the very first episode, in that cab he's talking to him, that's like the same model that's in Attack of the Clones at some point, like as they're doing that chase, moves them, which I don't think they should have convertibles there,
that seems like a very that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways,
had too many death sticks and I fell out. But so then they get on the train. They don't. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she was like, "Why didn't they just buy tickets?" And
that's
like,
what I thought.
He's on parole. If he buys a ticket, they're gonna be like, "No, motherfucker! Like you can't do that." And she's like, "Oh, right, okay."
But why?
He's an ex-Nazi scientist on the run. Right?
Couldn't she buy the tickets?
But she's also part of the amnesty thing.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're both on parole.
But they had that little get-together picnic, right, with all the other scientists are on parole.
Yeah. That was really cool. That like bonding moment. And it was like, what do you miss about the Empire? And he's like, I don't. And he's like, no. Like none of that bad shit. Just like regular stuff. None of the killing of planets.
I miss killing rebels.
Yeah. Not that part. He's like, I don't know, biscuits and the MREs.
By the way, the office work that he was doing kind of reminded me of the guy Cyril from Andor.
Yeah.
Just it gave me those vibes, right? Like maybe would have been cool if they kind of walked by each other.
Just Cyril, just like.
But did the timeline match up?
I mean,
I don't think so, right? One happens way before
the
other.
No. He could be old.
Oh yeah.
Like if we just have like a geriatric Cyril still fucking pushing paper.
Yeah, like 70 years old.
Yeah. He's no longer working for the ISB. He's now working for the New Republic tax agency. I can't believe I'm
saying that, but yeah.
Huh?
I can't believe I'm saying that, but
what? That'd be cool to see Cyril.
Yeah,
your favorite character.
Because that was one of the characters I liked. That was the character.
He was awesome.
Yeah, I liked him.
And this is kind of that similar thing. Like this is showing a side to the Star Wars universe that Cyril ditched his job at the end of season 1. That's true, but maybe once they
Maybe
lose,
the pension package was too good. He wanted to come back.
yeah, he comes back and they give him a promotion.
Yeah. He needed medical and dental. He's like,
Yeah.
fine. And
My
or he went back home.
My
and his
mother's
mom
getting
grabbed him by the ear.
old.
Yeah, the mom grabbed him by the ear, told him to go back.
Cyril,
Mind.
your uncle gave you this job. You got to take it. He stuck his neck out for you.
Yeah. Fine, Ma. I'll go back tomorrow.
Ma, just close the door. You're always bugging me when I'm having my private time.
Yes. So, yeah, I just thought it's funny because the gentleman that was helping the mail clerk guy is just like, here's some more work. Here's some more. And he's just like, listen, let's not rattle the cages here. Because he was asking him some questions like, why don't we do this, this, and this? He's like, no, we're here to destroy everything. Just don't worry about it.
He's like,
get
you
rid
could
of it all.
file this injunction. He's like,
No.
but I don't think you can because you're on parole. I would check with that. But anyway, here's a bunch of shit to do.
Yeah.
How badly did you guys want one of those glow pops that they were when they were walking through?
I was just gonna mention that right now. Yeah.
I was like, oh, what are those glow pops that they're eating?
That can't be healthy for you.
No, I was told at a very young age to not crack open glow sticks and drink them.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care what it is. That's not healthy.
Yeah.
Anything that emits light out of it, you shouldn't want to eat it.
Yeah, it's usually a natural sign of don't eat this.
Yeah, uranium.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was super cool when they are like going through the theme park, and he's just dumbfounded by like the amount of people, and he's just like, they're just here. And she's like, yeah, they're all just helping. And he's like, how many? And then she said, like, what was it, 1 billion or 1 trillion citizens or whatever. And then he's like, how do you not feel insignificant? And then she was like, oh, actually it makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger. And then they go to like what seems so unassuming and boring, and it's just like this little rock. But like she's like, yeah, that's the peak. That's the only part of Coruscant, the actual planet, that you can see.
Yeah.
And we vaguely know how deep
Is that new in the story of Star Wars?
I think so, yeah.
I've never heard of this ever.
No.
Yeah, I think that is
maybe a deep in the comics or something like that.
Yeah, maybe it might have been referenced in a comic or something.
In shows and movies have never heard of this.
No. And like, so that mountain must be fucking massive. And
can I see it, please?
Well, no, you did. That's the only part you can see. Because it goes so deep through the cities and all of the lower parts of Coruscant.
I thought it was a statue.
No, that's the peak.
I thought it was a piece of it at first, and then I understood that it's the peak, and they've built up around it.
Okay. Yeah,
of course you can't. Of course you can't touch
hundreds. Yeah, that was good too.
Like there's no way.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
By the way, quick little thing I wanted to add there. So my youngest son, he's not into Star Wars that much, but he loves Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
He will get up and watch that. So I'm trying to get him to know more about the whole universe of Star Wars. So when they went to Coruscant, he doesn't know what that is. And I said to him, you might want to learn about this place because it's the center of it all, right?
Yeah.
He's like, literally in the center of no. I go, not location wise, but in terms of all the storytelling, this planet is the most prominent of them all. And I loved
of the
galaxy. and I said to him, the entire planet is like a giant city, right? And he's just like trying to wrap his head around. He's like, oh, like you see his brain's turning, like, whoa, that's pretty huge, right? And I love the fact that when this mad scientist, clone scientist, is in his room and they're telling a little bit about Coruscant. It was perfect because I'm like, oh, here you go. Listen to this for a minute. It'll tell you pretty much everything you need to know.
It's pretty much just like reading a Wikipedia article.
Yeah, I'm like, thank God they put this in there because this is genius, right? Yeah. It gives you a quick little explanation of what this planet's about. And also right away, it's like
he was like talking to the droid on the cab, and he was like, "Oh, how long you been here?" And he's like, "I've never been here." And so he's like learning about it. He's like, this place
Yeah.
is a fucking city. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like someone going from a village in a remote
Mhm.
country, and the next day they show up in the middle of New York.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're just like, what the hell? Like, what? It's insane, right? That's basically what it is. And I try to explain to my son, but I'm so happy that they did that for him because he's not more interested. He's like, okay, so this is a very important city. Why?
Mhm.
So now I must learn about why, right? So hopefully I can
And I
kind of show him some
think-
other stuff.
I think that's the whole reason they do it, right? They know they've got different people watching this
Mhm.
show that maybe aren't
Mhm.
Star Wars fans. So they
Yeah,
gotta,
like
you know,
if I
do a little
throw in the Star
explanation.
Wars, if I throw in the Star Wars Phantom Menace saga or anything like that, he doesn't care.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. I know who Darth Vader is. I know who Obi-Wan is, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I like right now.
Yeah.
This is what's drawing me in. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, if this is the starting point and you love this, hopefully you'll grow to love everything else around it too.
Mhm.
Right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool of them doing that.
Did he
Which is-
watch Boba Fett?
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He watched Boba Fett because he knew Mando was going to be in it.
Yeah.
So we've been watching Mando from day one.
Yeah.
I remember Mando used to come out during spring break, so he could watch a couple of the shows at midnight with me.
Nice.
So right now, yesterday's episode, he watched at midnight. During school, though, he's not. He has to wait till the next day to get up, right? But that's what he loves about Mando because he's able to watch a couple episodes at midnight with me,
Nice.
right? So yeah, and then I think they had Mando come out on Friday nights too, right?
I think
Yeah.
so.
It was Friday
the
nights
fir-
used to come out.
Mhm.
The first,
So
pretty
we
sure
would
the
do
first
that during
season was
school
Fridays.
days too. Right, we'd watch it on Friday night, early morning or on the Fridays before school.
Mm.
You'd watch it, but it'd be funny because he'd watch it on his phone on the way to school too, because he didn't want me to ruin it for him. He said, "No, you don't talk about this. I want to watch this right now." But yeah,
It's
getting
the
back
same
into
with-
the show.
Sorry, I was gonna say the same thing with my kids. They get ahead of me on stuff, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, "Dad, you got it," and I'm like, "Shut up! Like, don't tell me anything." You know,
Yeah,
like, yeah,
exactly. You'll be sleeping in the garage if you tell me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So getting back into the fold here, continue as you guys were. Where were you? At the train?
The heist, the train, escaping from the train droids.
Yeah.
You know they're gonna make figures of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Again, you know the train droids can't run after them though; they just walk very
No.
slowly.
Yeah, very menacing.
They're like, where are they gonna go anyways?
saunter.
Yeah, yeah.
It was weird, yeah. Like it was that character, she was sketchy from the beginning. And then when they were in there and he was like, oh, cool, I got all this medical stuff or whatever. And then he's like, what was that noise? She was like, the ship settling. And I was like, oh, okay, she's a double eight. Wait, she's bad. Wait, she's working for the good guy. I'm very confused. And then we see her sell him out to the good guys when he's trying to be, so it's very confusing. Then they capture him and they hook him up to
The mind
what
flare.
used to be what used to be a torture device, but now they realized, oh yeah, well the Empire turned it up to 11. If you turn it up to 2, it tickles and you get pleasant. Also, there was a line that I rolled my eyes at so hard they almost collapsed my skull. When the Mon Calamarian officer is describing the mind flare to him and how it's now pleasant, and then he's like, "No, I was set up. And then he looks at the Mon Calamarian and he says, "It's a trap." And then again,
I know.
I was just like, "Ugh." And he like reaction gifs over to the side, and I was like, "Oh, fuck."
So
Okay.
good. So good. When I heard that, I was giggled too. I'm like, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. And then they hook him up. He starts giggling with giddy excitement and glee. And the officer's like, "Oh, you did good. Good job. You get extra biscuits." And then she's like, "Okay, we're done. I can go. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go now. She's like, actually, I'm gonna stay. He was my friend. I want to make sure that he's okay. And he's like, okay, you deserve it. Good job. And then she's just like,
cranked it down, baby.
yeah.
Should we explain what it's a trap means to anybody?
It's a trap. Mon Calamarians are the fish-looking people. They are from a planet called Mon Calamari, and Admiral Akbar. The meme is it's a trap. When the Empire fleet shows up in the was it Return or was that an Empire?
It's the end. No, it's the end of Return of the Jedi, the final battle.
Oh, okay. And then everyone veers off. So yeah.
Maybe for their species, that's just like instead of the Mandalorians saying this is the way, maybe the calamari just say
it's a trap.
It's a trap.
This is the 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 trap.
Someone needs to make a shirt on that one.
This is the trap.
Oh, it's a trap. There's been billions of it's a trap shirts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does basically get his noodles fried.
Yeah.
So does he actually die? What happens to him?
We'll see.
No, he just gets like brain fried.
So does that mean death? Because if you're brain fried, pretty much means you're dead.
No, he's just a
or is it just he was just worried that his memory was going to be wiped, right?
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
what
but
the
she
Mind
cranked
Flayer
it up
did
to 10.
before.
Right.
Yeah, but
right.
the Mind Flayer would so let me look that up again.
Because at normal whatever, they're gonna erase his memory. But if you crank it up to 10, you're gonna fry your noodles. You're done.
Yeah.
You're a veggie. Right? That's it for him. He ain't showing up anymore.
Blah, blah, blah.
The Mind Flayer was also something in Stranger Things, wasn't it?
Yes. That was the beast.
The shadow monster called the Mind Flayer. Yeah.
Mind Flayer.
Well, that's
as soon as they said that.
That's where I was hurt. I'm like, I heard this before somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Well, the Mind Flayer is a like Cthulhu-esque looking thing from D&D.
Oh.
And then
they named it that.
Yeah.
In Stranger Things because they played D&D there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they didn't name it that. It was just the thing from D&D.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Mind Flayer was only referenced in Mandalorian, actually.
Like
they uploaded me to a Mind Flayer. This is the second time it's been referenced in Star Wars.
Really?
It was only referenced by in one episode of The Mandalorian before by Cara Dune. She was talking to Grief Karga, Carl Weathers, and she said, I'm a rebel shock trooper. They uploaded me to a Mind Flayer. Those aren't real. That was just wartime propaganda. Oh no, they'll upload me to a Mind Flayer. I don't know what the fuck any of that means. But yeah, so this was only used in Mandalorian or referenced in Mandalorian. Interesting.
So what do you think the reason is why they removed everything out of his brain and removed him out of the equation as well?
Well, I think it was, as they were kind of explaining it, now they will just, or they were like, he's relapsed. So essentially they're just going to replace all of the bad thoughts that are currently making him relapse with happy ones. So anytime he thinks of the Imperial Army, it's just going to be sunshine and unicorns. And it'll tickle anytime he thinks of something bad, instead of have realization about the horrors that he was involved in. But then when you turn it up to 11, maybe it just goes, I don't know.
Well, obviously she wants him to forget what she did to him, right?
Oh, right.
So
she's trying to cover her tracks.
Yeah.
Because she's still working for somebody, maybe. Maybe
somebody. Oh, she definitely is working for somebody.
Yeah.
Because she was able to possess that much military might, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a facility where they can. She's definitely being bankrolled and taken care of. She's not. She's not put herself in that.
I think she's part of the. I think she's an undercover agent for somebody else, and she got accepted into the amnesty to infiltrate the amnesty program to then recruit ex-imperial sympathizers to then grow the first order.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But we see that again, the beginnings of the First Order and how they came to power was because the New Republic was so empire phobic that like anything revolving around it, they would what's the term? You'll cut off your own leg to save the body or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, they will, even if it would benefit them, they're still going to destroy it because it has any remnants to do with the old ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're weakening them, and also too they're feigning ignorance to anything involving that, even though if it's like, oh well, the thing I was doing can be used for good and it will benefit us,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like, nope, it has anything to do with that. That was agriculture, yeah. Well, that was food that was going to feed the empire, so we don't want it. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we want to cover before we give our scores for this one?
This is the way.
This is the way. There's some good stuff. There's some great stuff, and then there was brains being fried. Interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it ended with a brain frying.
Scrambled eggs. Anybody?
Yep.
Chris, what would you give it out of 10?
I would say so. I liked a lot of parts of it. I definitely liked, the battle at the beginning and the whole thing with Bo-Katan being, trying to figure out where she places in all this. And then I did like, I agree with you. Maybe it didn't need to be a whole, maybe it could have been 2 episodes. However, I do like the fact that they are built. If it was a really side story and they didn't, again, they're building up to something. So I'd say 8. I'd give it an 8.
Okay. Justin, what say you?
Yeah. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Because I love kind of backstory stuff that's done well. That has purpose. I love seeing things about the Star Wars universe that haven't really been stories about the Star Wars universe that we haven't really been told in this amnesty thing. And again, how the New Republic started, we haven't really seen anything about that at all. So it was cool to see that. It's cool to see the amnesty program and just that being a thing, because like that begs a question. Like there was hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people who were loyal to the Empire, but like, what did they happen after that? Did they just all die, or like they had to get jobs after that? So it's cool seeing that integration. All the Mandalorian stuff was cool. It started, as I said before. Yeah, this definitely felt like a setup episode, because it started a lot of things, and there are so many questions that this episode leaves you with, which I'm excited about.
So 8 and an 8.5. I'm gonna be, I'm probably gonna give it an 8 as well. I would have given it an 8.5 or a little bit higher if the two were separated and they had full extra 10 minutes to close it off for each one of these things. But saying that, I mean, the other story about the stuff that takes place in Coruscant is interesting. It can't be ignored because it is going to set up something we're all thinking for a bigger story. And I did like some of the stuff they did there to sort of, as I mentioned, about explaining what Coruscant is about and the importance of that place. I loved everything about the Mando scenes, all the stuff that happened there, including the chase scenes, the redemption, which is so big because he lost so much of himself, knowing that he's not part of the clan anymore, and he really, really wants to be part of that clan. He finally gets that closure. We're finally done waiting for that to happen, and now it's like on to the next adventure for him and Grogu. So I was happy to see him being part of the clan again, and we'll see what happens with their relationship, him and Bo-Katan, where that goes. So yeah, I think eight's not bad. I definitely would like to see more Mando next week. I want to see more Mando, and I want to see an appearance by somebody show up.
Again, I'll reiterate that because so Dave Filoni only wrote episode 4 and episode 7 of this season. Everything else was Favreau and the other person, but Dave Filoni's only credited for doing episode 4 and 7, or helping on those 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he's involved, it's because somebody that he's created is very heavily in the episode. Like Boba Fett, he didn't write any of the episodes until the 2 that Ahsoka was in and Mando were in.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'll be interesting. We'll see next week. I'm eagerly awaiting
a big cameo.
My prediction is it's Mando and Bo-Katan going off on some and Grogu going off on some adventure, and then the very end we're gonna see a glimpse of who that shadow person is. Or she'll what's her name, the one who tricked the doctor, will go somewhere to say mission complete or something.
Mm-hmm. Are they crossing paths though? Is that what you're saying? The one that crossed?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm just saying they're
establishing the villain.
Yeah, at some point, like you're saying. Like
with how this season's been going, like they haven't really. It's usually been like. Well, I guess they did cliffhanger the Mythosaur, but again, I feel like this season is just sprinting to things in a good way. It doesn't feel rushed, but it might just feel like they might not even take any time to be like, oh, I wonder who this is. It might just be like, here you go, here's bad guy, fuck off.
Yeah. Well, I definitely didn't think they were gonna when he's got to redeem himself. I'm like, this can't go over so many episodes. No. This has got to be quick. Yeah. This can't be the whole season. So,
yep.
Yeah.
I'm predicting that Ahsoka shows up next week, but not like Ahsoka blazing with the lightsaber. No, she's going to be undercover.
Maybe
she's looking for somebody, obviously, and so she is going to bump into somebody in the team.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. But I like that won't shock anyone if Ahsoka shows up again. We'll be like, oh, it's her again. So I don't know if that's a.
Well, it's not about shocking. It's like
no.
That's a big character. Ahsoka's not like a little tiny character. I mean, that's going to be a seismic change in the storyline when she shows up in his storyline, right? Like she made a massive impact in his show. She's the one that told him what Grogu's name is.
Yeah.
What his purpose, what he wanted to do, what about him, because she's with the Force. So she answered a lot of questions that people had about what's this about this Baby Yoda, right? Yeah. And I think she coming next week might answer some questions about why Bo-Katan's place was bombed, why they want to get rid of this whole Mandalorian lore. Maybe it's Admiral Thrawn doesn't want to see these guys come back together and unite because he fears that they're the threat, right? The Jedis are scattered.
Yeah, and being such a culturally knowledgeable person, he knows like all it takes is they have very few rules, but when they follow them, they are a force to be fucking reckoned with.
Yeah.
So I got to keep the one that's got the sword away and the lady who knows that the dragon exists away.
So that's why I'm thinking that Ahsoka might come in there to let them know this is how Admiral Thrawn is.
Yeah,
he's a very strategic type of person, which is why I've been looking for him for so long. And you guys need to be aware he's not a guns a blazing type of guy. He will use his wits to outsmart you.
Well, and if Thrawn shows up, Ezra has to, because Ezra put him where they are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a 2-for-1 deal almost.
Yeah.
But the only argument to that is that from a marketing standpoint and a Disney marketing standpoint, you keep those characters closer to the end so you can trail off into their own, because we know Ahsoka's got her own series, right?
Well, Ahsoka can show up to next week, and then they all show up in the 7th and 8th
episode. Yeah.
Because you got to think about last season of Mando, right? Boba, they kind of teased him at the beginning, brought him back, halfway through,
Mhm.
and then really had him at the end, and then did the
That's
whole post-credit scene of him sitting
Yeah.
on Jabba's
the
throne.
throne.
You also have the other character, the one that was in Rebels, who also was a Mandalore. I can't remember her name.
Sabine Wren.
Sabine.
I mean, we've never heard, and she's close to Ahsoka.
Yes, and she has also been casted.
Yeah.
Well, so is most of them, except for Kanan, obviously.
Could she not come in and drop a little nugget saying Ahsoka is currently looking
That would
for
be
this
cool.
person?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll see next week.
Well, yeah, and we still have a bunch of like Mandalorian Civil War stuff, or not Civil War, but like Mandalorian battles that are going to happen. So there's going to be some rallying of the troops, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's gonna
There's
be
that
cool.
scene in the trailer where he comes out of the cave, and they're all standing there waiting for him to come out of the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Does the armor die?
No,
Because if
No.
the armor dies, he becomes sort of the leader, does he not?
no, I think Vizsla would.
Okay. But maybe if she dies, some of this changes. The helmet off and on kind of changes.
Well, it's not up to her, but
Well, she's the leader, though, is she not?
I don't know. That's a
Well,
good question,
from the-
actually.
From visually seeing this play out, to me, she defaults to as the leader.
Yeah,
She's making up the armor. She's giving the new boy the helmet.
Mhm.
She's
Going through the
asserted
thing.
herself as a leader just by looking at everything that's going on.
Well,
Right?
I thought this season is really the only time, and I guess this season is really the only time that she kind of portrays that, because before it was just like, oh, more like a commune sort of thing where everyone just does things for the good of the commune. But like, yeah, that's a good point, actually. I never thought of who led them or who their, I guess, Mandalore was, but or their
It was
'Cause
probably
he-
never
he-
just. It was probably never decided. It's just because the way she is and stuff, they all decided to
Sure.
follow her. I don't know.
She's
Listen,
got horns.
This is the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he pulls out
She's-
the sword, says, "No, this is the way, homie." Right? So maybe I'm thinking that she dies and he takes over
Sure.
as a leader.
I don't know that has a huge impact though, because she's been kind of an asshole to him, and it's just kind of a fanatic, and it's just annoying. Not annoying in a like the character's annoying, but I mean just for him, she's been a barrier for him. So
Mhm.
like as far as like writing goes, like her dying, nobody will care. Nobody would be like, "Oh no, the armorer died." It'd just be like, "Oh, the lady that builds things dead." Okay.
Yeah. It'd
Like,
be
there's
more
not
powerful
really-
if they build up Bo-Katan, and then, like you said, if they kill her off, that'd be.
Yeah. It doesn't really move anything forward if the armorer dies. Like it's just kind of a moot point. Like if Paz Vizsla dies, you'd be like, "Oh no, Jon Favreau's character dies." Oh, like, we don't
How-
really care about any of them.
Here's a question I wanted to ask you guys: how long do they have with the show?
Favreau already
think-
says five seasons.
4 or
Didn't he
5,
already
yeah.
say? I think
Okay,
Favreau,
Okay, well,
said
Favreau
5.
says 5, but Disney says otherwise, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, but Disney fucking listens to him.
Yeah.
But if Disney goes, "Hey, listen, we're in season 5 here, and things are strong. The ratings are good, sales of merchandise is good. Do we really want to end this, John? Should we not milk it for another 2 seasons because
Yeah.
we're
End it with
making
a
hand
feature.
over fist money?"
End it with a feature film.
And a prequel. You could do a
I'm done
prequel
with
miniseries.
I'm done with prequels.
Yeah, but I mean, I would prefer a prequel Mandalorian series where you see him growing up on Concordia as a teenager, and you see a bunch more Mandalorian cool shit.
Does anybody
when
really
they were
care about
strong?
that? I mean, I know you care about it, but
Right,
I don't know
right.
if the
But I
general
mean
audience
that,
cares about him growing up.
but that as opposed to, oh, we're gonna string this out for 4 more seasons and make it shitty.
I think Chris, you're onto something. I think they're going to do a feature film.
That'd be cool.
I mean, it deserves it, does it not? I think it does.
I wish I could watch every episode on the big screen. Every time I watch it,
Absolutely.
I'm like, God, I wish I was in the theater.
I just watched Demon Slayer.
Come over, Chris. Watch
There was a new
Okay, I'm on my way.
There was a new episode of Demon Slayer because they're putting out a new season, and they put out the last 2 episodes of the last season and then the new episode out in theater, and I watched it. And that was the coolest fucking thing ever. It was like, here's 2 episodes that you've already seen to kind of get into it again. And then here's a new episode of the new season. And seeing it in the theater was like, yeah, once the Mandalorian season is out, if they're just like, all right, pay us $100, you get dinner, and we're going to binge all the episodes, I'd be like, fuck yes.
So I was at the theaters yesterday. I guess we're at the Cantina bar now. I was at the theaters yesterday. I was watching Creed, and Cineplex had a trailer at the beginning. Come join us to watch the entire season of The Last of Us on the big screen. Yeah.
Really?
So you can go watch the entire
Sponsored by Kleenex.
You can watch the entire series on the big screen with your popcorn and your drinks.
How long is that?
I don't know. That's pretty long.
Well, no,
4 hours?
Oh, they're like, that's a good 6-7 hours.
No, it can't be that long.
The
Can it?
credits.
If they skip
There were
the credits-
45-minute episodes on average.
Well, it's
They were.
But I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I wish I knew that prior. I mean, I would have loved to watch it in the theaters all together at once. But
Okay,
I've already
did
saw
that.
it.
81
the-
minutes, 53 minutes, 75 minutes, 45 minutes. Everything was pretty much an hour. So cut. So 80, let's call that 70 minutes. So 1 hour, 45 minutes, an hour, half an hour. So 1, 2, yeah. So that's 7 hours, I would say.
That's too long.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's too much crying. Like,
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, it's available to people who want to watch in the big screen and have their popcorn and stuff, I guess. But
They
I
did
mean,
that
this
as
is
well
what,
for the beginning, the Lord of the Rings or the Rings of Power. Before it came on
really?
Amazon, they released just the first 2
Yeah.
episodes in the theater.
yeah, yeah.
They did that.
I honestly, is this the end for movie theaters? Because if they're doing this, they're desperate for money.
well,
You never hear
yeah.
this ever. Like 20 years ago, TV show in the theaters. Get out of here.
well, that's because
They're
of
not-
the pandemic.
They're
and
for little
Netflix.
people. They're for the actors who can't make it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah, they're not TV shows anymore. They're freaking
No,
little movies. They're
they're
movies.
blurring the lines here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And people are able to afford big screen TVs at home. Like, I mean, now you can buy a 55-inch TV for $200,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you can have a good time at home. You have popcorn makers on Amazon you can order and have it shipped to your house.
Yep.
Like, it's
You
blurring
can
the
Uber
lines.
Eats movie popcorn to your house.
We
Like,
had
you
a
don't even-
pandemic that pretty much made you stay at home watching movies.
Mhm.
And companies had to put movies day one into your streaming services. I watched Wonder Woman on day one on HBO Max,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah, it's blurring the lines. I know it'll never go away because there's still going to
No.
be that fun factor of going and watching it on a massive screen with Dolby Atmos and all that IMAX and all that nonsense. But
Rumble chairs,
it's
14-year-olds
coming
fucking talking
closer.
in front of you.
It's coming
Well,
closer.
The
right?
real question is, will movie theaters only be big blockbusters? Right?
No,
like, I
they
mean-
won't survive.
No, you're right. But I mean, look. I mean, Avatar still made tons. It's number like.
Well, I mean,
3
that's
or
one
4.
movie you're talking about
But
over a course
Top
of a
Top
year.
Gun as well. Maverick,
Mhm.
it did really well.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, how do they survive? I don't know. But
That's why
you know,
they're
I think-
introducing membership programs now.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like all I hear is $9.99 this here and that. Other companies like doing $12.99. Come watch movies now. They're doing movies in the morning now. Landmark
Well,
theaters and bringing
matinees.
people at 11 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. They're like
That's when I
early-
saw episode 1.
Yeah.
I saw
So-
a Sunday matinee.
They're trying to reach as many people in different times as
Mm-hmm.
possible. I think there'll be a day where we're going to have a 24-hour theater probably soon, where they're going to have to cater to everybody, like the people who work in the daytime can't go watch the movie the night, or people are working afternoons, they want to go watch a movie at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're going to cater to as many people possible just to survive, right?
Well, I mean, I'm surprised going into the movie theater now, because they were literally shut down for 2-3 years. I'm surprised how little advancement movie theaters have had. They still, there's no automation. Like, they have kiosks that you can buy tickets from, but like,
well, you have an app now.
Yeah. Like, but that was before the pandemic. But like, I'm surprised there's still, and like, no offense to people who work in movie theaters, like, I'm not saying.
But what do you mean by, like, what would you like to see automated? Your tickets
I'm
automated
just saying,
now.
I'm surprised that the movie theaters didn't, in those 3 years, go, okay, well, we need to do something to recoup a lot of this lost revenue. We need, okay, we're going to put robotic barriers that you tap your phone, then it opens and it lets you in. You go to the thing, you go boop, 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 and then it shits out a popcorn and a drink for you. And then you go in there and then you scan your thing again, the door opens, you go and your seat lights up and you sit down and you go there. Like, I'm surprised they didn't just take that time to automate everything and like self-check out the whole process.
Because you can cheat. There's, like, when you automate things, there's going to be people trying to find a way to cheat.
Cheat with people. They're 14-year-olds who are still in high school. They don't give a shit about their job. That you just walk in and go, I have this, and they go, oh, okay, whatever.
Well, I don't know. I went to the theater yesterday, and there were no 14-year-olds working there. They had older people there because they got let go. All the 14-year-old people got let go because it's a skeleton crew.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you have, like, you could tell it's a skeleton crew because you have 7 kiosks to check in, and only one of them
2 or 1. Yeah.
It's a skeleton crew now, right? And the other thing is, like, when they were all closed, they were not allowed to make any money, so the government funded them all.
Yeah.
So they might have lost money, but not to the degree of, places like small mom and pop restaurants where they definitely lost money.
Yeah.
Because majority of them shut down for good, right? But the tickets prices have gone up.
Well, I was going to say too,
my ticket cost me $28. $28 for my ticket. It's a VIP ticket, but still $28. I remember taking my family for about $35 before.
Yeah. My girlfriend, she has
Tuesday night, $7 a ticket.
Yep. My girlfriend, she has the scene card, so she just uses her points, and that's how we go see movies. But like, if for a lot of the movies, we like put everything together, and we're like, to get out here and have 2 people watch a movie, have a drink, have popcorn in like the VIP or like the good seats or whatever, it's like $100. And
which is why I get mad when I see a shitty movie.
Yeah.
It's like, I spent $100. Can you not give me something of entertainment value?
Yeah.
Right? Like Disney, come on. You have endless amount of money, and so far you've been putting out garbage in Marvel, in my opinion. And I get frustrated with that. It's like, I just spent $100 to come in here, and you're gonna give me this, like crappy CGI, terrible writing. What the hell did you spend your money on? Advertising the whole time? Right?
Nathan's favorite part of the whole movie theater experience is having a kid kick me in the back of the head throughout the showing. I had that happen kind of the last movie I saw. I got hit in the back of the head with Swedish berries.
Okay, that's delightful.
Yeah, and I like did the slow like death stare behind me, and it was like these 2 girls who were, I don't know, 9 or something, or they could have been 20. I can't tell. But look behind me, and they didn't notice, and then I realized they were trying to throw it at some boys in front of me, and then after and I was like, okay, whatever, it was a mistake.
Yeah, we went and watched a movie, and my wife, someone threw a popcorn at her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoever threw that, you do not understand who you just threw it to.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm trying to keep my wife calm. Don't worry, it's fine. Let's watch. Focus. Yeah.
I waited to the end of the movie, and then I turned around and I was like, hey, which one of you has the really shitty aim? And they're like, what? And I was like, don't fucking throw shit in a theater. And they're like, I didn't. And I was like, okay.
I like Landmark. Sorry, go ahead.
There is actually, I don't know what the chain is. It's not here in Canada, but in the US, there is a chain that after a certain hour, kids aren't allowed in. like
AMC?
under
AMC, yeah.
It might be AMC. So yeah, like if you go see a movie on whatever, like a Wednesday evening or something, kids under 18 aren't actually allowed in.
Well, it's funny you say that because
The
the reverse also is in place now as well. Landmark, which is an American-owned company that's got a few theaters here throughout Canada, they have kids and parents only movies where you take your toddler who's crying a lot, like moms, or dads with a young kid that might cry or be fussy. You go watch it, and everyone in that theater knows that there's going to be a chance a kid will cry.
Yeah.
But it could be my kid, and nobody else could say anything about it either.
Yeah,
right?
Because your shitty kid's also here.
Yeah, exactly. So they have that, and they have those under young kids' birthday parties and stuff that they cord off a theater for them.
Well, they also have the VIP theaters too.
Yeah, which I just went to. It was adult only.
Yeah, because it's a bar.
Yeah.
So like they have their own separate theater, and there's a bar and lounge and everything, and there's no.
Yeah, it was my first experience. Like you basically.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's the one in Vancouver by Marine, and I went up the stairs, and my friend's like, I was waiting for them at the. Are they only? What's so VIP about this thing, right?
Yeah.
And my friend's like, no, this is regular area. We're gonna walk up the stairs to a VIP lounge. I'm like, oh, okay. Walk up there, and it's very restaurant-like. You got a bar there, you got waiters, you got booths. We could sit down and eat. So we had our appies and stuff like that. And then the waiter said to us, the movie starts in an hour. Would you like your main course be in the theater with you?
Yeah.
Or do you want to eat it here? Right. And I said, well, I guess we'll put it we'll eat it inside. And they have tables inside.
Yeah.
The only downside about the one went to in Vancouver was it didn't recline at all. It just had a head tilt. So I was told that this was the oldest one of the new VIP places in Vancouver.
Yeah.
All the other ones have the reclining ability.
Yeah, we go to the one in Poco, and that one. Yeah, you sit down if you want in the theater, and then somebody comes out with a menu.
Yeah,
you can order shit, and
you could do that, or come early and sit down at the restaurant area.
Yeah, and they'll also like if it's, I think they just know, or no, when they bring you their food, they're like, "Do you want me to come check on you or whatever? Or are you gonna want anything for the rest of the movie? Because if not, then they'll just leave you alone, or you can be like, yeah, come back in like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and they can bring more drinks and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, so it's all adult too, so there's no kids, nothing like that.
But really, when it comes down to it, how else? Like you're saying, how do they put, people in the seats? Like, what kind of innovation do they have, or could they actually do? That's
this whole D box where it moves around while you move around. I don't know if I want that if I'm eating.
You know what's better? Getting the seats behind the D box. They're $20 cheaper, and it's the same fucking experience.
Is it?
You get all the rumble and everything and vibration. Like the D box is cool for about 5 minutes, and then you don't notice it.
Yeah,
and you paid an extra 20. But if you sit behind it or in front of it, you still get the rumble, and you still get all the shakes and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't want my seat moving around. Like, if I want that, I'll go to Disneyland. I'll have my seat move around all day long. I don't need that. I mean, is there anything else we want to add today?
Well, we wanted to add Nathan, but apparently he's too good for us.
I will be not here next week's but I will be watching it on my trip. And if I have time, if they have an office there at the resort where I can go in and my laptop, then I think I'll join you guys next week.
No, just tune in or come in cell phone at the pool.
Yeah,
just use your phone camera.
Yeah.
Oh, Nathan's home. He said, "Give him a minute." All right, I'm gonna grab a drink.
Okay, well, I have to.
You have to go,
but you guys can talk for a bit if you want.
I can for a bit. Yeah. I'll stick around.
Chris, vamp.
Well, I'll talk to Chris until you get back.
I'm gonna talk to myself.
Yeah, look at the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say one last thing that I do like about the theater is the fact that you can't do this, because I find now, like, if I'm watching a bad movie at home, I'm on, like, I'll just pick up my phone. I'm like, oh, what's this movie
my
about?
Family does that to me. Like, I hear you, because even at home, if I'm dedicating time, I'm dedicating time.
Yeah,
I don't want anything interfering here, so I turn on a movie that the family's agreed to watch. Yeah. And I'm the one watching, and I look over to my right and look to my left, and I see everybody on their phones. And I'm like, guys, don't make me sit here and watch this movie by myself, because I
Yeah.
can do that any time of the day, right? We're
Yeah.
doing this together so we can all laugh and enjoy the moment. So put your phones away, or if you don't want to watch this movie, you guys can go away and I'll watch something else for myself, right?
Yeah.
Hey, there
Totally.
he is.
Hey, sorry I am so late. I finally got back from work and I didn't have time to really set up my camera, so I'm using and the mic. I'm using my AirPods and the.
It's okay. We're used to you looking down at us. Quick before I head, I do have to head up, but these guys are gonna stick around for a little bit. What is your score for the Mando?
Oh,
And the Bad Batch.
Oh, okay. So, let's see. I'll start with Mando. I'm gonna give it about a 7 out of 10. I think that the episode could have gotten a lot better, but in my opinion, the dialogue was not good. The big thing for me is a lot of the time it just didn't seem believable. I know it's Star Wars, it's sci-fi, but
Yeah,
it just felt so artificial the way people
it
talk
didn't
to each
sell
other.
you.
true.
Yeah, especially the point where the doctor just walks out after he's given the speech in the Senate, and all the senators come up to it. It just sounded like a 5-year-old wrote it. Like, oh, you must be so happy that you're here with us now. Oh yes, you must be happy. That's garbage, guys. Disney,
Well-
you need to write better. Jesus. And I
Let
get
me
the
be
point that it's kinda made.
devil's advocate and saying that it felt so empty
Cheesy.
and
Cheesy.
cheesy, but was
that was
that
the
not
design of it.
the
I guess.
design of it exactly? Because they were just a vapid group that were just like, oh, whoever's in charge, I don't really care.
Yeah, they're vomit. They're vomit, right? So
Here's the thing. I thought
But,
that too, except I had watched this episode immediately after I'd watched The Bad Batch. And I'll go into that in a moment. The dialogue
Right.
in that episode was the worst I've ever heard in any Star Wars episode ever. That I am so close to giving that episode maybe a 2. But I'll give it
really, oh my
points. Yeah.
god, he is on
But
fire
anyways,
today.
Before I go into
You know your
that,
name is Nathan, not Alvin,
Mandalorian-
right? You don't have to
I
spit
mean
fire.
you today because you didn't
You are me
dislike the
today.
episodes as much as me.
I'm you, relaxed and calm.
I just got off work and instead
Yeah,
of
he just
feeling
had to deal
relaxed,
with
I'm all
people.
done. It's like I'm
Somebody
tense.
spill
I
a
gotta-
beer in your pants.
No, I was at the
Or
liquor
not
store
enough?
today. That's why I was able to tune in.
Ah,
Okay.
Um,
Well, I gotta. Unfortunately, I gotta head
Oh,
out.
yeah.
I'm actually reviewing a game that I'm gonna be putting on the other channel, the gaming channel. Yes, we have a gaming channel, AGR. But just give me your scores before I head out, so I know what
Okay.
you thought.
7 out of 10 for Mando.
Mando.
4 out of 10 for The Bad Batch.
Oh my
Wow.
god. Will you be here next week?
Yes, I will be.
Okay, I will tune in from Cabo with you guys if I can.
I like how
This
when
isn't
you
going to be
said
another
Cabo, I
scenario
thought-
where you're calling from here, right?
I'm going to tune in for
'Cause
what
last time you said you're
Wrecker,
gonna
and
call-
everybody was. I'm going to tune in from the same island that those guys were in. Hopefully, no tsunami.
Oh, I don't want to have to clip this.
Knock on wood, knock on wood.
If I jump in the water, there'll be a tsunami.
You could do a transition of him, of Elvin
Cannonball!
leaving with a big wave pushing him out of the screen.
At least, no. All right,
Oh.
I gotta go. I will see you guys hopefully next Wednesday. Yeah, have fun, guys, at the bar.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Yeah, be safe.
Yep.
He always does that. He always turns off his camera and then mutes it, but he doesn't remove his camera. Yeah, like that.
Nice gone.
No, you're good.
Oh, you just corrected me.
So yeah, what was your the Mandalorian? So the beginning parts, all the Mandalorian parts.
Yeah. I
What-
really like that. The
Okay.
action scene in the start was one of the, in my opinion, one of the best starts to a Mandalorian episode we've ever had.
Sure.
I forgot that we didn't even get the intro logo until it happened. I was just like, holy
yeah,
crap.
actually, that's a
Yeah.
good shout.
Immediately, yeah, just right into the action, and it's not just like needless action.
No.
It's making us think, okay, the Empire's here. Why are they here? This is not just some random Imperial warlord. There's a reason. These are interceptors. They're slightly better than TIE fighters. The TIE Interceptor, although the TIE Interceptor, the shielding isn't as good.
I know, that's what.
But they said it's better in the episode.
Well, I thought that too. I was like, actually, they just have better agility and better weapons. They have weaker shields. But then I was just like, but they maybe don't know that because they don't see them often. Maybe they're just scarier, and yeah, maybe they just meant worse, as in like they're deadlier. But I thought that too. I was just like, I've flown those before, and they can only take a couple hits. Which, I mean, I guess we didn't see that. They shot them once, and they exploded immediately.
Yeah. And immediately after it blew up, he was like, "Oh, they're tougher," or something like that. And I was like,
maybe not tougher as in like rigid, but like more difficult.
Yeah.
The syntax.
I liked. I said earlier, like they are giving Bo-Katan a little bit more comedy. I really liked when she's like, "Oh, you know, I used to fly through these caverns, like when a long time ago," and then she goes, "But it's been a while." Yeah.
I immediately was reminded of, I think, the third Matrix, when what's her name's flying the Nebuchadnezzar, and she's like, "Oh, this is a great ship," and damn, she's got a fat ass. I was expecting a line like that, like, "I used to fly through these ships, but you know, this thing's got a big ass." But that J turn when she pulls the e-brake and like, for some reason, anytime that I see the N1, and because it has the two joysticks, I'm always just like, what happens when you do this? What happened? Like, I want to see this. And then
apart.
Just like done. But you see that like the movement of the piloting direction was so cool. Like right when she did that movement, I was just like, oh, and then she does like an e-brake slide and spins around, and it was just so rewarding, that 5-second bit.
And didn't she have like a line just before that, like, "I got this" or something, or like before
she threw out a one-liner.
Chris, earlier what the hell is she gonna do? Earlier in the episode, you mentioned that you think that they're trying to make her more likable. I completely agree. I think that they're trying to make her seem more like a human being now, make us think, you know, she's not just this person who feels a bit entitled. Because to me, she felt a bit entitled early on.
Sure.
Even though I know what she went through, I still felt she was kind of entitled. But now it's like, no, she's this person who basically her whole life, even though she's got this castle, not anymore, but even though she had this castle and she was, in her view, still a Mandalorian, she's had this rather horrible life. So many things have been taken away from her that meant a lot, or destroyed completely. And now we're getting this reintroduction to it, especially since she's kind of in her mind tainted it all. She no longer thinks like, oh, you know, Mandalore was so, you know, it was a great place. I loved it. We had these traditions that, you know, I valued. It's now these traditions were just for the people. It meant nothing really. It's just show. And these mines, they're nothing special. The creed is nothing special. It's all just a show. Now she's kind of being reintroduced to it after it's been tainted, which I think is a way of her coping with the whole thing.
She's being reintroduced to all these things that she thought of tradition, just like, oh, whatever, these are all for show. But she's being reintroduced to them in a practical sense, where it's not her dad just saying like, oh, we got to do this because this is what we do. She's seeing the commoner and why they value these things, and because it grows, you know, your community, and you need to have these values to strengthen your community because of these things. And then they're like, oh, well, all these things were just myths. And now she's seeing like, oh, actually, we use this water to craft this shit, and mythosaur totally is a fucking thing. And now she's just like, yeah. What did you think when she didn't tell Din like what she saw? What do you think her method was, or why?
My first reaction was, are you kidding me? This episode is immediately going down. I'm so upset with the Mandalorian that they're just ignoring this whole thing. But then I thought two things. Okay, that's just my first reaction. They're either going to use this later on and it's going to be super important, or this is just a symbolic thing for her. It's nothing that's actually important for the story overall. This is just something for her to see, like the Mandalore is not dead. As in like the way of the Mandalorian. and this is proof of it. Living underneath all this rubble and decay, the thing that everyone thought was dead is still there, and that's kind of symbolic for her. So maybe it's not supposed to be something that's really big that she's going to start telling people about. It might just be an internal thing, and then at the very end of the season, she'll come out and ride it or something like that. But I realize I overreacted a lot there.
I mentioned this in the beginning, but I think it's either was silent about it because she's having like literally a religious awakening, and all of her thoughts and processes in her entire life she's having to second guess, or she's just like, I need to take that so that I can reclaim Mandalore, because I don't have the Darksaber, but if I come in with a fucking mythosaur, maybe they'll listen now. She already tried, and they all told her to get on her bike, and then they all pissed off to some other country or planet, I guess.
Yeah. She in the last episode, I'm sure you guys talked about this. So just let me ask this question. How is she able to wield the Darksaber? Because
she did for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Clone Wars, she found it. Who did she get it from?
It wasn't Maul.
No, he took
lost
it from
it
her.
To Maul.
Yeah.
I think it was something she kind of,
I
want to say inherited. No, it was the guy, the Death Watch leader.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan beat him.
It was Tar Vizsla.
Was it
Tar
Vizsla?
Vizsla? Post Vizsla? I don't know. It was a Vizsla.
Post Malone.
It was it was the guy who Dave Filoni, or Chef.
Tar Vizsla? No. Force sensitive
Tar
human
Vizsla?
male. No. I'm looking at the wrong Vizsla.
Jon Favreau
Darksaber
voices him. Jon Favreau voiced him in the
Tar
Clone
Vizsla.
Wars.
Oh, he's the first Mandalorian to become you're thinking of the first Mandalorian to become a Jedi Knight who created the Darksaber.
No, he was a Vizsla.
He was a Vizsla. No, I believe I know that's true. Tar Vizsla is an actual person, and he was the first one. He was the creator of it. It was not Sabine, because she was obviously not her.
No, she got it later.
I had it right here.
He voiced
pre-Vizsla. It was pre-Vizsla.
Yes, pre-Vizsla.
It was pre-Vizsla.
He stole it from the Jedi Temple or something.
Yeah, there's something.
And he showed up and was like, "Motherfucker, I stole this. We're going back to Mandalore," because he was part of Death Watch, or the leader of Death Watch. Then he rocks up and then takes over the pacifists with Darth Maul, and then she defeats him. No. Anyway.
So it looks like, I don't know if it was taken from the temple, but according to the Star Wars wiki, it was taken by Mandalorians of House Vizsla who raided the Jedi Temple, but it wasn't him that took it from the Jedi Temple. No. It's like many years ago during the fall of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
It was taken from the temple, and then it was just kept. Yeah, it was then just kept in his family, and it was used to kill Jedi for many years.
So that being said, will Din ever really be able to wield it? Like, does it actually still?
Yeah.
Is it like a freaking wand in Harry Potter? Like it actually?
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, it's like the Elder Wand, yeah.
Like the Elder Wand, where you have to defeat the person prior. And even though Din did defeat the previous wielder of it, Moff Gideon, what was it? He doesn't have like the belief that he can rule Mandalore, and you have to have that belief in it or something to wield it.
Kind of. Well, so like Sabine Wren tried to wield it, and Kanan trained her to wield it, and it was his kind of vague teachings on how to wield it were very similar to what the armorer were telling Din, of just like, it is a blade of energy, and it's like essentially the most hippie description. It's like, this sword's made of energy, and you've got energy inside you, so you have to like align your energy chakras with the energy of the sword, and then you will be in synergy, and then you'll go to Mother Gaia. But that's pretty much what it is. It's like
after you light some incense and
yeah.
on
You get all your crystals aligned. And then, but it's pretty much like it can sense your confliction, kind of. It's like a lightsaber but different, and that's why everyone who tries to wield it is just like, this thing's fucking heavy. And then it's like, that's because you're fighting against it. It needs to be one with the blade.
Right.
Because it's not a Jedi weapon. It was a specialized thing. And even the creation of it is still in mystery.
Yeah. I think you can even just tell it's not a Jedi weapon by the shape of the blade, because Jedi weapons are more of a cylindrical, but this is actually a blade. It looks sure they both effectively work the same way, and I'm pretty sure they do exactly the same thing, but one of them is far more aggressive in nature.
Well, one's a blade and one's a beam. A beam is neutral. A blade is made for cutting.
Yeah. Although they have referred to it as a laser sword before.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and a lightsaber is also a type of sword.
Sure, whatever. Cut down my theory. Cut it down with your knowledge blade.
I used to fence with the saber. Had a Russian instructor. That was fun. Random.
Go on.
No, all I really remember from that was
Russian?
As in training for the first several weeks, was standing there like in the proper stance and just tapping the top of a mask and just doing that for like an hour and a half straight.
No, I mean, how
and it gets
Russian
really heavy because it's a metal thing. Oh, very Russian. Like English is like, you can speak English well, but super thick accent.
All right,
and,
I was
like,
just gonna ask
school style.
which one of these were his name? Was it Igor?
I can't remember the name.
Igor or Igor
or Yuri
or Yuri.
Or Yuri, yeah. I'm afraid I can't remember the name.
We'll just call him Igor.
Of course.
Guys, I gotta tap out. Sorry.
All right.
No worries. I think we'll wrap it up soon anyways.
Yeah.
All right. But I'll see you guys next week.
See you.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
Mando time, same Mando channel.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, bye.
We'll see you.
This is the way.
Then there were two. We should end this soon.
There were two. We should, yes. So who do you think they are teasing to be the big bad wolf?
Oh gosh, I do think they're going to make Moff Gideon return, just because we've seen him before. We know he's there, and we haven't seen him since the end of the second season. And they've showed us people that worked for him, people that might still work for him. They've shown us TIE fighters that are supposed to be, they have advanced capabilities, the TIE interceptors. Like he said that they're, I don't know, more advanced somehow. And that kind of hints towards Moff Gideon, because a lot of the stuff that he's had that we've seen him with has all been slightly more advanced tech. I can't remember if that was because of his position, but he's got more advanced tech. What I'm curious about though is if this whole cloning thing that both the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian is talking about, is this cloning that they're going into purely just like an interest of the Empire, just a plot point? They're trying to clone maybe Grogu, or just just experiment with it, or is this finally setting up a reason why Emperor Palpatine returned? Are we actually going to get that answered?
I hope. Like, it seems like they're trying to fill in that plot hole, because the two shows that are out now have both referenced it and are both heavily involved with the cloning facilities that happened after the fall of the Empire.
Yeah.
So it seems like they are really trying to be like, we'll make sense of it. We promise. We got handed the shit sandwich, and I got to make a bouquet out of it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do our best. Because the fact that the Bad Batch is then referencing something from like the first or second season of Clone Wars, which was arguably a throwaway episode, like a great episode, and a lot of people love that episode.
Oh
but
yeah.
it was just a subtle, like, oh, it's moving to this cloning facility. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, if it was all planned, hats off absolutely to them. But it seems like a throwaway line that then they're like, well, they did mention cloning this big giant Zillo beast. Maybe we can bring that back in the Bad Batch. So then it's kind of more part of the canon and part of the zeitgeist. And then all the stuff with Grogu and like Dr. Pershing that we started. I'm really impressed with the amount of references to older seasons of other shows that they have been regularly pulling out of across the board as far as all the shows go, and almost force you to be like, you need to watch every season of the Clone Wars, because even the ones that people said were like, it was a fun one, but it was kind of a filler episode, it's just like, actually no, that's a major plot point now. It's just like, fuck, okay.
But they do it in a way though that it's, if you watch the new episode, you can still enjoy it and still understand, like, okay, they're cloning this thing, like this is a big thing, but then you get the full picture by going back. And that's such a great way to do it, rather than have it so it comes out, and there's so many new fans that have come to Star Wars because of the Mandalorian, and so they're watching the Bad Batch, or they're watching the Mandalorian and the Bad Batch, and they might not have seen the Clone Wars, but they'll still get the plot. But if they go back, they'll get this deeper lore, which is great.
It's not required reading for sure.
Yep, it is the Star Wars universe at this point. There have been a couple missteps. The Book of Boba was not great, but at this point, it is Disney's little jewel. The movies were not good. The most recent movies, the trilogy. I think that some of the other movies, the Solo movie was good.
I just rewatched Solo.
It's just good.
I just rewatched Solo last week.
You think it's okay?
First half was references that didn't need, and things that didn't need to be explained. Second half of that movie is fucking awesome. It was just entertaining. I love Lando Calrissian. But like the first half of just like, oh, this is how Solo got his name. This is how he got his blaster. This is how he got this. And this is how he got this. It's like, fuck off. Second half was the best adventure heist movie, and it was so good.
Yep. Gosh, what's his name? Lando, Childish Gambino.
Childish Gambino,
the actor's name again? No, but the actor's name. The real name.
Oh, Donald Glover.
Yes, Donald Glover is like he's usually a good actor, but in that role, he is Lando.
Perfect.
I love it.
Fucking perfect. Casting. Yeah. He has the like gravitas and the class, but also the griminess that Billy D. Williams had in Lando. Like, he was a scummy dude, but not overtly. It was just like, if you look at him at face value, he just looks like a class act. But then if you know anything about him, you're just like, he's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he got that. He nailed it.
Yeah, just like he nailed his droid.
And he port in the storm.
But, yeah.
And that is a port. I think it might be USB 4.
That is one thing I will say that I did not like about that movie. I thought that was really weird.
It was weird.
Droid love thing. I get it. It's kind of like something Lando might do, but at the same time, I feel like he's also the kind of guy that would just go around to different spaceports, just hooking up with different people. And I know that's not really a Disney thing,
but it kind of explains why. So most droids
connected
get
to the Falcon?
Kind of, but it explains why the Falcon is so unique. And it's because her L337's brain was put into the Falcon. But having a droid be unique and have it not have its memory wiped, which every droid does, you need to explain in a certain way. And if you do it any other way, I think, other than a love interest or like a heavily insinuated love interest, then you're just telling another R2-D2 story. So I think
that's true.
That way is the only way to say, like, this is why they have all these knowledge and why they're such a unique droid and such a knowledgeable droid as opposed to just one that gets wiped and reformatted every little bit.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah, no, that's true.
But the I lost my shit when I saw when Infus Nest at the end, and it was Jade. I remember from Willow, and then
Yeah.
fucking Willow is in the background, and he's in her crew, and I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait,
The actor,
really?
what's his name? I never remember his name.
Is he actually?
Warwick Davis. He's in her crew. He's one of the rebel fighters.
One of the Cloud Riders.
Yeah. He has lines too. He has dialogue.
Oh my God,
even though
is. It's the little one.
Even though
I've
he's
never
already been in
seen
Star
that.
Wars
Yeah,
multiple times.
I know, but wow.
He
He did a better job here than in Willow.
He did. He was hanging out with Jabba. He was one of the Ewoks. And he's been in every iteration of apart from no. He's been the only person.
He's been on every
He was
one.
in the original trilogy. He was in the prequel trilogy. And he was in the sequel trilogy.
Yep.
And he was in the side movies. He's been in every fucking iteration of Star Wars.
It's hard to get actors, like little people actors that are, I want to say, as good as him, but at the same time, I'm conflicted about his acting ability now.
I
Because
am as well.
because I always thought he was a good actor, but then his performance of Willow was so bad. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like, is it bad or is he just acting like the way he acted when he was a kid? And he
Yeah,
played
is he so
Willow.
method that he's like, no, I need to play when I was young.
Like 18. How old was he during the first Willow movie?
Well, it was 1983 he was in, and he is 1970, so he was 13.
Yeah, so he was pretty young during that movie. So I don't know.
Sorry, that was Star Wars. Willow, it was 88, so he was like 17 or something.
Yeah, still pretty young.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted with his acting ability. He might be really good, or he might just be really bad. But because of the roles he plays, we never know. Actually,
Yeah,
he played the Goblin in Harry Potter.
yeah, in Gringotts, yeah,
and in Gringotts, and that was pretty good.
Flitwick or whatever.
Flitwick, yeah, but Flitwick
Flitwick,
didn't have too many lines. That the real acting in that was when he played Griphook, the Goblin.
Yeah.
And I think he did a pretty good job. There's even a clip of him yelling at Daniel Radcliffe because he was trying to intimidate him, and Daniel was just staring at him like blankly the whole time. And so he was like, "Do you know what? I have an idea. Like, I'm going to yell at him for the next scene." And he yelled at him to try and make him jump. And Daniel didn't jump. He just started laughing. So.
He was Woollavan in the new trilogy.
Woollavan, that's the Cloud Rider, right?
No,
that's not the Cloud Rider.
No. He was the Cloud Rider in. Is
Woollavan not part of the Cloud?
No.
Riders?
This was in the new. This was in Force Awakens, and
he's in the castle. Maz.
Yes,
Maz's
Maz Kanata's
palace.
Yes. Maz Canada.
Maz Canada.
But yeah, he was in the offshoot movies. He was in the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and the prequel trilogy. He was in every Star Wars iteration.
Wow, good for him. I like it when
Star Wars absolutely. I'm not hating the player. I'm hating the games that Disney runs that he plays in.
That he plays.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well,
anyway, we've talked about Willow long enough. I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, I think we've lost two people already. So now it's time to wrap up. And
All right. Well,
next week.
If you love Willow, I'm sorry.
Who does?
Nobody.
The one person who greenlit that project is like, do you know what? I loved this crap you guys came out with. We're gonna do a second season.
You know who loves Willow?
No,
Christian Slater.
Does he?
I don't know. He probably got paid a shitload of money, and then he was in it for one episode and then died, and he was like, "Cool, I'm out." If they did, and then
I'm out.
Second,
you could only pay me enough money to do one episode.
Yeah, and I'm not getting in the second season because I died.
That's the way to do it. Crappy TV shows
kill me off. He's being the what's Boromir's name?
Boromir's name. Oh, Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. He's pulling a Sean Bean. Yeah. He's like, I'll be in this movie if you fucking kill me.
Just the first season or first episode, whatever it is, kill me.
Yeah, I'm a one-off. That's it.
Yeah, and it needs to be an epic death too.
Yeah. I mean, he did have an epic death. He had slow-mo shots and everything.
Oh yeah, it was. What was it? It was the fight scene, right?
Yeah, he died in a field or on the stairs. He fought off like 40 or 50 very well-spoken goblins or whatever the fuck they were, orcs. I don't know. Who all sounded like they were from like
Trolls,
the Bronx. Trolls, right?
Yeah, they sound like they're from the Bronx. Yeah, that TV show, the whole script and plot wasn't great, but they had potential. I think that like with the money that came behind it, Disney wants to do a fantasy show.
Yeah, Sean Connery's doing it now.
Sean Connery, yeah, exactly. My favorite Sean Connery joke. What did Sean Connery say when his bookshelf fell on him?
What?
I blame my shelf.
You really are pulling an Elvin today. You just came in guns blazing, shitting on the show, and now you've got a dad joke. You would be proud.
I screwed it up too as well. It is, what did Sean Connery say after the shelf he built collapsed? And then it makes more sense
bookshelf.
When it says, I blame myself, but because he built it, but because with his accent, it's I blame myself, as in.
You know what makes a joke better?
When you don't have to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's because they fucked it up.
It was fine.
This up now.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna go now because we're telling terrible dad jokes. Tune in next week when we watch more Star Wars stuff and talk about Warwick Davis a lot. Say bye, Nathan.
Bye, Nathan.